Yeah, Prophet Marshall Occurrence. So this video is going to be about something that the only thing that the Christian community is doing pretty good. You know, understanding what they're using their intuition to understanding what's going on YouTube. They're doing pretty good. But I'm gonna just come in and touch what's lacking. You know, what's lacking is specifically when talking about these gang stalkers, what's lacking is realizing that the Americans helped these people that's gang stalking us. They helped. They helped. They helped. And that means the whole infrastructure of this community. They say that just imagine a theme park of people running around and helping to fight you. That's what happened. That's the full capacity, because you might step out there and not realize the full capacity of the whole crowd of people against you. It basically was like a theme park against you. Like when you go to a theme park, the whole thing is against you. They thought this would be funny and hilarious, and to put us in these theme park situations where we running around. And in the middle of that, you got to use your brain. They didn't use just secret society people. No, they didn't. And that's what they've been hiding the whole time, because as the war escalated, they didn't want these Americans to suffer for it. They wanted to suffer by themselves. But the truth is, they used the whole American community. This is what's going to break a lot of people's hearts. This is what's going to break your heart. You've been halfway embracing the Americans. You've been halfway showing love, but the inside scoop and secret is the whole country was working against us. I'm talking about like even black people. Now I want you to think about that. Black people was working against you. That I wanted to hit like that. The culture, the people, the music, the lyrics, all of that was working against us. They was even making songs against us, movies against us. You don't believe it, do you? They was making movies against us. Go back and look at the movies that was coming out from 2000. I'll even go back to 2017 to the present time. All the movies during then were movies that was psychological war against the Christians and the prophet. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Go back and look at the titles of the movies, the themes of the movies, all the stuff in the movies. It was against us. That's how far it went. They used the whole culture against the prophet. I'm smarter than they thought. They used the music, they used the movies, they used the black hip hop culture. All the rappers know about this. See, this is so you can sink it in that this was an American effort. The rappers know. They've been new. They've been new even back in 2015, 14, all around there. All these rappers, they know about what we being gang stalked. They know. The rappers know. Black people know. And guess what? The hood know about this. Now you see what I'm saying? See, you've been listening to people, and they right on as far as, you know, the conditions of these people and everything like that. But the only thing, you know, because they spiritual people can pick up on what's going on right now, right? The only thing that hasn't been established clearly is that these people use the Americans. They used the Americans. They used the whole culture against you. And that's mind blowing for a lot of people. But I mean, I done got so used to the idea of it and realizing it that it doesn't affect me like that no more. But right now, that might be heartbreaking for you. But you got to come to terms with it, man. And this is what's missing out of the recipe. This is what's missing. This is the dish that's missing out of the cuisine of our spiritual warfare and understanding. You know what I'm saying? We got to understand that these people opposed us as a whole country. And that's going to be the hardest thing for you to believe. See, that's the skill of doing something like this, that nobody would believe this. If we do this much, some people ain't gonna believe it. That's why you got to leave some family members behind. They doubting you, communicating to your family what's happening to you, right? Some of them gonna tell you you're not that important. My own mother told me, "Oh, you on the phone, you're not that important." My own mother told me that. She doesn't know the anointing on my life, obviously. She doesn't know how I have affected this country in spiritual warfare, obviously. She don't know. She don't know how I have affected this whole country. The streets know more than my mom know about me now. The streets know me better than my own mother. It's people that's in the country that knows me better than my own mother. So you got to start leaving people behind. It might seem cold-hearted, but you know, you can't have people, because you can't have people around you that don't see you for who you are, and don't see. And it's not about you necessarily in this context and situation. You can't have people around you that don't see what you're going through as it is. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. You halfway talking to somebody that think you tripping, think you exaggerating, think you might have some mental problems, they gonna think this kind of stuff. You don't need nobody around you doubting this situation, even if it's your own mother. So I've cut my mother off. I don't talk to my mother. Okay, I know because it's not just that. It's loyalty. It's her being loyal to somebody that started all these problems in the streets. My brother, she would never believe that my brother was the big catalyst to starting this whole war in America. She ain't gonna believe that. My brother is the one that started this whole war. He sent out the Freemasons and the secret societies, and he is the main reason this war happened. I hate to tell America. And see, that's the higher level of understanding with gang stalking. Okay, now you got somebody telling you who started all of this. You believe in the gang stalking yourself as a Christian. You believe in things that they can do because you've been through it. But now the next level of belief is, now I'm telling you who started this. My brother, Tremaine Dominic Houston. Now, gang stalking been going on for quite some time, but it was humdrum, right? It didn't stick out in society. My brother is what made it stick out in society. Mind you, I'm a prophet, so you would know that, as the Bible says, a man's enemies will be the enemies of his own household. So it adds up, just like Joseph got betrayed by his brothers. See, so it's a story along those kind of lines. Cain killed Abel. You see the pattern. High-ranking people dealing with their own family. You get it, right? Okay, so with that being said, it's easy for you as a Christian to believe that a high-ranking Christian would deal with family, because you can see that pattern all through the Bible. With Joseph and his brothers, Cain and Abel, you know, Jacob and Esau. I can go, it goes even further. When it comes to this spiritual war, it's going to kick up in the family. When it comes to this spiritual war and you're high ranking, it's most likely you're lucky if you've gotten through your family without any major problems. And you're very fortunate. You're very fortunate, because most of us that are high ranking specifically are going to suffer betrayal from family. It's inevitable. It would have happened some other way or some other way. Even how they did it It would have still happened some other way if they didn't do it that way. That's how you need to hear it. Most of us would have still been betrayed even if it didn't happen the way it did. It would have been something else, another issue. And they would have betrayed you with the same kind of heart. They would have threw you to the community the same way. So stop hanging up on what caused it, because they still would have did it. Let that resonate. They would have still did it because their heart is the evidence of that. The position of their heart, they was already ready. The type of person they were, the type of people they were, they was in the position. Their heart was in the position to do it. They would have did that to you anyway. Just think about it. It's just like an argumentative person. If they ain't arguing about this, they gonna argue about that. Make sense? An argumentative person, you ain't gonna shut them down with one issue being solved. It's gonna be something else eventually. If it's not today, if it's not the next year, if it's not 2 or 3 years, an argumentative, quarrelsome person is going to find something else to argue about. So in this context, with you being betrayed, a person with a filthy heart is going to find another reason to betray you. Something you did, something they didn't like. And they would have done it to you anyway. And that's what you need to really hear in this message. They would have done this to you either way it went, bro. Because you are high ranking. You are spiritual. They would have betrayed you anyway. You stuck on the issue and you building a memorial around the issue. You building a shrine on what they did it for. And so is the community. That's what got them in position against you. They built a shrine against concerning what they was talking about. What their accusations was against you. But the truth is, it could have been something else. So then with that understanding, the shrine comes down when you understand it wasn't so much about what it was that they said about you or how they accused you or what the content of what their accusation was. They would have still betrayed you anyway. They would have still thrown you to the community. When you understand high-ranking people, right, spiritual people, they get betrayed. That's what happened. Jesus got betrayed. Because the devil gonna come in and utilize whoever he can against you. The higher ranking you are, the way you was fasting when you was young, the way I was fasting when I was a young man, somebody was gonna get set up to betray me. That's just what it was. And so it wouldn't have mattered what issue it was. It's just a matter of who the devil know he can utilize, and then once he know who he can use, when he look at the hearts of these people, he gonna groom them to set them up to betray you. He gonna make sure he keep them groomed real good for a position of betrayal against you. It might not happen right away, but once he see you high ranking, he gonna look around your network, your circle, and he gonna see who got the heart to betray you, and he gonna groom that person to be in position to betray you. So you see what I'm saying? It's a position of betrayal. And then it can happen from any issues because it's a position of betrayal can pick any kind of issue to betray you for. Any issue. That's how you need to hear it. It could have been anything. Because it's a position of betrayal that you was facing. You were facing a position that the satanic kingdom set up against you. It could have been anything. And so pull down the shrine and stop going over and over and over in your mind of what it was. Because it wasn't about that. It was about a position of betrayal that was designed against you because you were spiritually high ranking. And how I know that for sure, you could have been absolutely innocent and they still would have betrayed you. That's 7 out. Listen, you could have been absolutely innocent and they still would have did horrible things to you. They get a little bit of dirt and they build a shrine on it. But even if you hadn't done those things, they still would have betrayed you like you did those things. They didn't need the things. The things was just enough to get everybody on the bandwagon. But the position of betrayal was already in position. Which means they would, if it would have came down to it, they would have just betrayed you even if you was innocent. See, you ain't been on that level because that's Jesus level. Because you're human. And because you're human, they're going to find some dirt on you, buddy. In Jesus' case, the position of betrayal couldn't be dirt because there was no dirt with Jesus. So then we see how far it goes in the spiritual world when ain't no dirt on this person. Ain't nothing on them. They're squeaky clean. That position that the devil brings to betray you is still going to be there. If you're completely innocent, Jesus proves that. He's the only one that proves it. Like he did that in an innocent, squeaky clean position, if you are high ranking, him being the highest rank, they gonna still have a position of betrayal against you. Now you see why I say it wouldn't have mattered if you was innocent, because they would have betrayed you like Jesus. Now you get it. Now you get it. It's not about what you done. And it's so hard for people to understand that, because see, it was wrong, the things you done, right? So it's hard for you to believe that it wasn't because of that. That's the Jedi mind trick, because it was wrong, but that's not what it was about. It was about your spiritual rank, and because you're human, you're gonna have some dirt, and it's easy for them to go point to something to betray you. But you can see in Joseph's case too. Also Joseph was also an innocent person. He ain't do nothing to his brothers, but he was high ranking. He had the coat of many colors. He was having dreams. You see what I'm saying? And that showed his rank, right? That showed his rank. And obviously he had an aura. He carried a spiritual aura. You know he did. And he was aware of who he was spiritually, right? Right. With the dreams. Definitely after the dreams, he was more aware. His aura was more confident in his spiritual rank. Think about it. He knew who he was. He was talking about his family bowing down to him and everything. Okay, so then his confidence was up in who he was spiritually. He carried himself like that. He didn't do nothing to his brothers. They betrayed him. You see what I'm saying? What I want you to realize is that it don't matter what it would have been. It don't matter what it don't matter. It would have still happened. It would have still happened. This is why if you're lucky and blessed, you get away from your family. See, I almost did it. But because I was pursuing music and I was so focused on music, God had already moved me away from my family. I had went to California when I was 20 years old, and I should have stayed on the West Coast. I'm telling you from experience, I should have never went back to my family. And guess what? I would have got more respect. I would have had more love from them and everything probably. When you get back among them as a high-ranking spiritual person, think about it. In years and years and years, and you fasting and you seeking the Lord, you telling me the devil ain't going to utilize one of them people against you? Of course he is, man. Once you become high-ranking, man, you got to get away from your family. In these days that we live in, because the devil is utilizing, he's sending his spirits to utilize people against you. And those spirits sit with them people. They assigned. There are spirits that's assigned to people for that spirit to groom that person, to betray you, to have the heart to do it. Always speaking to them concerning you, making sure they ain't too good with you. Not all the way. They got some things they'll betray you about. Maybe it was your work ethic. Maybe they felt like you was lazy and they'll just betray you because of that. Because you lazy ain't a reason to betray you. I'm just keeping it 100. But see, the devil sent spirits to groom them people to be against you. That's what it was. But here's the punchline. It would have been, even if you was excellent, even if you was perfect, they still would have betrayed you, buddy. And that's the punchline. That's the revelation knowledge. Your family would have still did it to you. People that know you would have still did it. And America would have still did it to you, because you a righteous man or woman living for God. They would have still betrayed you. Black people would have still betrayed you. Yes, they would. They would have still betrayed you. It don't matter if you love these black people. You could have loved them. You could have been a Malcolm, the next Malcolm X, and you would have been betrayed with a whole group of people like that. Somebody among them would have betrayed you. So stop quarreling around also about what the black people, how they are with you. Because guess what? They would have betrayed you too. Boom. Oh, guess what? They would have did it for money. Like they did do it. They did it for money, didn't they? Well, why you wouldn't think they would have did it for money in another situation? They did it for money, right? Okay, they would have did it for money in another scenario. The right money, the right price. Everybody got a price, they say. You would have got betrayed by black people anyway. Especially the present day black people. They would have betrayed you anyway. They would have betrayed you anyway. Okay? All these Americans would have done it to you. And see, that's how you know you have elevated to the highest understanding of spiritual warfare. Because you realize that the devil would, his kingdom would have utilized somebody against you. Think about what I'm saying. It ain't no way in the world you would have been loved. Jesus wasn't even loved by everybody. The devil was utilizing people against him. Now you see what I'm saying? Now, so then you ain't greater than your master. So somebody would have been utilized against you. Either way it went. Either way it went. That means if you would have just stayed in your word, you would have stayed in prayer, you would have stayed fasting, come out and be a good person, get your food, and be good, cool with everybody. Be cool with the community. Somebody would have betrayed you anyway. And how we know for sure? The revelation knowledge is Jesus. Jesus Christ the Messiah. You would have been betrayed anyway. So stop being hung up on, well, maybe if that happened, well, maybe if I got along, maybe if I did this and got with the black people and I would have became successful and this, and I would have been a musician and that would have worked out and I would have been loved. Nope, you wouldn't have been. Because you're a high-ranking Christian. You're not the everyday Christian. You're not the everyday Christian because you abstain from the culture. You abstain from sex. You abstain from smoking weed and smoking cigarettes, and everybody else is a joke. You had your bouts because you're human, because you was born here in America. But at some point you bounce back, and that's what we look for as a Christian. As a Christian, I don't judge people in their situations. They go through dark road, you're gonna go down dark roads, lonely, cold, dark roads, and we just got to look at you. But at some point, you're going to come out of those dark roads, walking down them dark roads, getting high, doing all kind of stuff. And you're going to bounce back, and that's what people look for. That's what a veteran looks for. Because you're a righteous person. God ain't going to let you go. He ain't going to let you go. He didn't let you go. He still got his hand on you. But everybody else a joke, man. And that's what you got to look at. You're not a normal Christian. You're not even a normal Christian. A normal Christian will halfway have sex with your wife. If you push the right buttons, they ain't gonna say no. You would. You're loyal. You put you make moves at the right person out here, and they'll do anything. That's how it is. That's how you grow up. That's when you know you're grown up. You push the right buttons, and people will do anything, man. They'll do anything you want them to do. But not you. They can push all the right buttons and you ain't doing nothing. Because you're not a normal Christian. And that's what they hate about you. You ain't got no buttons to push. You ain't got no price. They can't pay you off. You know what I'm saying? They can't pay you off to leave Christians alone. They can't pay you off to leave people behind. They can't pay you off to leave Christians. They can't pay you off to betray Christians. You see what I'm saying? You see, this is part of the war between good and evil. It always happens. There's no way in the world you're going to go through the world unbetrayed. Okay? So I'm trying to show you, even though it happened a certain way, it would have still happened because of who you are. Anyway, if it didn't happen on this boulevard, it would have happened on the next boulevard over. You would have made a left turn and went to another boulevard. You would have been betrayed over there somewhere. And guess what? Even if you didn't go back home, you would have got betrayed out here in the world somewhere. By some ministry, or by some ministry, some Christian ministry. Because you so high ranking, you gonna make them demons manifest in these people. So even if you stayed away from your family, the next step is the devil would have brought people in ministry to betray you. With the same effect. With the same effect. You would have been betrayed by ministers with the same effect, with the gang stalking and attack in the whole community against you. Now you see what I'm saying. So, here's the good news. Here's the great, great, great news. You know how you defeat this? You know how you beat betrayal. You thought God's people was going to go out pitiful. It's our finest moment. This is our finest moment. You know how you beat betrayal. You go into a spiritual warfare position and you fight back, buddy. This is what people are not used to, and this is God's people finest moment, because God has seen this pattern over and over again, and in the last days it's not happening like it used to. Oh no, because this is part of God getting his glory. Humanity is set up. History shows us over and over again how people get betrayed over and over, get killed over and over again. This time is different, because now it's time for God to get his glory. Not our glory, his glory. This time, how people betrayed us, we're going to destroy these people. Okay? They're not going to get away with this. And history showed us over and over again, people getting betrayed over and over again. And it happens, and it is what it is, right? Not this time. Because this time, God is setting up his beautiful bride, which is the body of Christ, to make her finest debut. To make her final debut. Kind of like an oxymoron, right? Her final stand as the beautiful bride of Jesus Christ. And that consists of us having a final showdown with the United States of America. That's what's happening, buddy. Mm-hmm. This is the final showdown. And God is not letting us go out pitiful. See, when you read the scriptures and you look at the prophetic timeline, you're going to think, oh, the mark of the beast is coming and that's what's coming next. And we're going to be, before that, everybody just suffering and then the mark of the beast is going to come now. What God is showing me as a prophet is what's going to happen is God is going to make his people shine. And he's going to put the Americans under our feet. He's going to show people that his people, after all, are the greatest. That we are above all kingdoms, just like he did in the Word of God. We are about to shine, and people are about to see that we are above all kingdoms. Even America. We are above this kingdom. Now, some of y'all lack faith. You lack faith that we are above this kingdom. We above the American kingdom. You believe that? Don't get fearful of all the technology and all the games they play. All the stuff that it's more technology than anything else. Don't get fooled by all the smoke and mirrors and the whistles. Don't get fooled by that. God's kingdom, his people are above the Americans. And that is going to be made very clear. Which means we have to shine above them and we do not embrace them. Why this is important? Because God right now is going to rise us up. And they're going to be put down. So you can't be trying to stop what God is doing. You can't stop what God is doing. But you can't be in the wrong position. Okay? You got to let them fall down. Because that is what's going to happen. This is God's people's finest moment. We're about to shine in front of the whole community and world stage for the glory of God. It's not about a particular people. It's about the Americans at this point. We don't care. So anybody trying to get their 15 minutes of fame and thinking it's about black people or thinking it's about gay people or thinking it's about lesbians, we don't care about none of those different groups of people right now. This is about now the Americans. That's what it's about. And they challenged God's kingdom. They helped to gang stalk you. That's what you need to hear. They helped to gang stalk you. Okay? Come to terms with it. The Americans, the United States of America helped, and that means the politicians. Donald Trump knows all about this. See, I ain't heard nobody say this. See, I'm getting 100. We say that in 2026, I'm getting 100. I'm getting 100, man. I'm getting 100 because I'm gonna say what nobody don't want to say. Trump knows all about the gang stalking. Trump is sitting back like a fat cat, like a glitzy fat cat, letting it go on. Like he's a show business guy. Yeah, do the gang stalking. You get it, don't you? Like this show business fat cat sitting back watching it go on. Trump know all about it. Listen, we ain't among our parents no more. We ain't among our ungodly family no more. Let's speak what we know is true and what our intuition is telling us. Trump know all about the gang stalking. We ain't around doubters no more. We can have the real fluent conversations about these gang stalking. We can have spiritually fluent conversations. Trump knows all about the gang stalking. The police know all about the gang stalking. The black community, the rappers and the singers and the celebrities know all about it. Pay attention. Look at what the celebrities are saying. Look at the writing on the wall. The whole culture knows. The whole country knows. The Americans set up a show business of gang stalking. You don't want to hear that, do you? They set up a show business of gang stalking. That's basically what this is. This is an American effort where they set up gang stalking secretly against Christians and good people affiliated with Christians and people who oppose America. They set up a whole show business of gang stalking like a theme park against me and you. Donald Trump knows all about it, buddy. In fact, this is what's going to blow your mind. Trump knew about it his first term. Trump knew about the gang stalking back in 2017. This is why you got to stop praying for Trump, talk about Trump. They're going to deceive you. They know what they've been doing. They've been against us. You can't go by nothing Trump is talking about with talking about Christians and all that. Liars is going to be liars. The worst liars is going to say the most worst lies that you could even think about. They're going to sit right in your face and lie. There's high levels of lying. You know, I mean, I just have to say this because some people don't act like they know. There's higher levels of liars. Where somebody can act like they're a Christian and know they gang stalking Christians. Know they against Christians. They can even do stuff for other Christians, but don't do stuff for the Christians right here in this country. That's why they can go over there and do stuff in Nigeria, right, with the Christians over there, but they know the Christians are being gang stalked over here. That's how they got you right there. That was a deep gang stalking attack. Trump is over there calling himself helping Christians in Nigeria, but he know the Christians here being gang stalked. All these celebrities talk about the Christians over in Nigeria. That's a Jedi mind trick because they know, because they want people to think they were for Christians, and the stupid followers of America is gonna follow that. You're gonna believe that. That's a lie. That's a chess move. They not for no Christians. Trump ain't. Trump is not. Trump ain't for no Christian. Trump halfway be cussing consistently. His heart is in the wrong place consistently. Trump is not a Christian. Let's settle this. Trump is not no Christian. By lifestyle. His lifestyle, listen, for all these Christians that talk about the fruit of the Spirit, you should know them by their fruit. Well, look at the fruit of Trump. See, that's where you're a coward. You're a coward. You'll talk about my fruit, but you won't talk about Trump fruit. He said he a Christian. Okay, so then you should be exposing that he ain't no Christian if he doing saying all the carnal stuff and doing all the things he doing. But you the type of Christian to step on other Christians in America. The American Christians, many of them are the type to step on other Christians, but you ain't going to expose these celebrities because you halfway praise these celebrities. So when they talk about God, you act like you got to pray for them and you believe in them and all of that. But these people that don't even live a Christian life, but you halfway believe in Trump as a Christian. He's not. He's not living it. He's not living it, bro. He's not living it. So I don't care about the stuff he's doing. That's chess moves. I don't get Jedi mind trick about none of that. I know who he is, where his heart is at. His heart is not in the right place. And that's all you need to know. Okay, he knows about me and you being gang stalked. And he's getting a deal for everybody else. Deals in Iran. Deal everywhere. I'm with Iran. I salute Iran, right? But he doing deals with everybody else except us. He need to come do a deal with the prophet. Because it's not going to get no better until people treat me right. But they too bitter. You know what they bitter about? I exposed child marriage in America. I exposed it. That's what the Americans hate me for. In 2026, when they found out I'm the one talking about child marriage, Trump didn't want to give me no deal. He ain't want nobody to help me. That's what it was. That's why they quiet on it, man. I'm telling you, that's what it is. They'll go help other Christians, but they ain't gonna help me. They ain't gonna help the prophet. You know why? You know why? You don't know why, do you? They'll make up all the excuses. They'll talk about other things. What it is because it is also the spirit of betrayal. It's that too. But it's also because they have to, they mad because I told the community about child marriage laws. That's what they mad about. That's what it is. In my situation. That's why they despise you too, because you join with me. Right is right, wrong is wrong. So when you join with me, with the guy that's talking about child marriage, and you jumped on that, then see, that's why they didn't help us. But they got a Jedi mind trick and act like they helping Christians in Nigeria. Okay, you peep game, right? Okay, because I got good street intuition. I got street smarts. I know game when I see it. You know what I'm saying? They gonna go over and help other Christians to Jedi mind trick stupid, silly minded people, simple minded people, to make you think they like Christians. Read between the lines, man. They know. No Americans. It's a spirit here that doesn't like us. It's a spirit here that doesn't love us. And you telling me Trump ain't got that spirit? You telling me he ain't got that spirit? Of course he do. He got that spirit, I'm telling you. That hateful spirit that hate Christians, he got it too. Because there's certain things in his life that I know he agree with that Christians don't agree with, and so he ain't gonna be all the way with no Christians. No. When you go down the list, I guarantee you're gonna find something that Trump agrees with that you don't agree with as a Christian. That's common sense. You can tell. You can see how he act. It's something that he agree with that you don't agree with as a Christian, and that's what you need to think about. While you're trying to pray for people, the war is raging. Okay, you one of them 1994 Christians, ain't you? You gonna pray for Trump while this war is raging in 2026? That's where you at. You're that type of Christian that the war is raging, right? We got to make moves in the real war, but you gonna hold a position of praying for Trump. He already knew about all of this. That's what I'm trying to show you. He knew about this. He knows about it. He knows about me personally. He knows me personally. He knows who I am and everything. Trump knew who I was since 1997. Since 1917. Since 2017. Since 2017, Trump knew who I was. And that might sound crazy to you. You might sound like my mom. You're not important enough. Listen, it's the anointing, bro. It's the high range spirituality. They've been knew about me. They've been watching me for a very long time. Because I've been on YouTube for a very long time. When YouTube first came out, they may have been following me since 2008. 2007 and 6, back in 2006. They may have been following me since 2006 when I was doing my videos the first time when Barack Obama was going for office. You know what I mean? And so, you know, they may have been watching me since way back then. Because YouTube, when it first came out, they took all the messengers seriously, more seriously. Now they don't halfway take me seriously or other people seriously, right? But in the beginning, they took everybody seriously, and I was just like this. So they may have been watching me as some serious messenger on this new website called YouTube. You see how I'm saying? You see why they would? When it first came out, use your intuition, use your smarts. The Americans gonna take it way more seriously, like I'm a great messenger, because this is new to them. YouTube is new to them. They're gonna take you way more seriously. So they may have marked me as an enemy way back in what I count about 2006. 20 years ago. That's for me now. That's for me. But like I said, Trump knows all about this. He knows all about this. He knows all about the Freemasons and all of that. Okay? How you know is because he too close to the police not to know about the Freemasons. That's how you know he know about the Freemasons. He know about them too. I'm trying to show you what he knows about. Trump knows all about this. Okay? And he's mad because the prophet who's leading the way is talking about why he didn't say nothing about marrying children. And if you was a real man, you wouldn't be insulted by that. You would take proper correction. But instead, he didn't take proper correction. They became bitter and hardened towards me and people that's with me. That's what happened. That's how they responded to it. They just turned a blind eye to whatever we was going through out here. With the gang stalking and everything. They just turned a blind eye to it. That's how they responded. Because once they heard what I was talking about America marrying children and all of that, and it's the truth. You're mad at me because what y'all doing? And that's what it was. That's what it was. So the whole truth is Trump knows all about this. Okay? I know this. I have been aware of this. I have been thinking about this. And it's because it's going to be revealed to me. God is going to let me know who my enemies are. And yeah, the Spirit of God is going to let me know. Like I'm in this building, it's nothing but enemies. How you think I know that? Ain't nobody tell me they was my enemy. Because the Holy Ghost is going to let me know. This is not no game. That's why I'm sitting here with weapons on me right now. I'm strapped now. While they sitting up there goofy. But that's because, listen, I'm not going to play no games, man. Okay, so I'm aware of the whole building because the Holy Ghost is going to let me know. He ain't going to let me be in here dumbfounded and I'm fasting and seeking God, and I'm dumbfounded about what's going on. So I'm trying to get you out of being dumbfounded. I just stayed in this position because I know as long as they play with me in this building, that it's cursing America. So I just utilized it to where they working for me. You know how they working for me? Everything they doing against me is going to curse the American community. It's going to curse Brooklyn, New York, and America. That's how it goes. So I willingly stayed in this position after the Lord revealed to me that this whole building is an enemy. They not pulling no wool over my eyes. That's why they can't stand it. Because you don't got the luxury, this gleeful pleasure that you're doing something that I don't know about. See, these type of people have a gleeful pleasure of thinking they're doing something that you don't know about. They're not doing something I don't know about. I know about the whole building that I'm living in. Do you know about the situation you living in? The people around you, the people at the grocery store, all enemies. They've informed even the people at your grocery store. You notice how they treat you? See, if you got street smarts like I do, right? I'm gonna hear what I need to hear. I'm not tripping. That's how you know you from the streets. You got street wisdom. You got street intuition, which is second to none. It's one thing to have mothers to intuition or women's intuition. Street intuition. Some women ain't gonna believe this stuff. Let alone intuition. Your street intuition gonna tell you if you got it. If you from the streets for real, your street intuition gonna tell you, nah, that's even people at the grocery store. Glory to Yahweh. Even people at the grocery store, They part of the network. You can tell. You can tell they talking under their breath. Look how they be talking when you're going through the aisles getting food. Watching and listening to you, and watching and reading your mind and reading your energy. They have put all these people in place against us. They put the grocery stores against us. All these grocery stores and a mile, 2, 3, 4 mile radius, all of it's been covered against us. All the stores, all the community, most of these people. Let's say most of them. And when you come out, it's like a show. You notice that, right? Your street intuition is telling you that. Every time your food stamps hit, you notice the show that's out there. You notice the energy like it's a big show. Because they know when your food stamps hit, man. Wake up, man. Let's just talk about it in plain English. Let's talk about this stuff in plain English so that we can be more equipped in spiritual warfare, knowing what they're doing, knowing how they covering every step that we make. You'll say they follow every step. Okay, well, the next level of understanding is they know when your money gonna hit. They know when your money gonna hit. They know when you get bread, everything. Right? They gonna try to plan and watch you and hinder you and be in position against you. When you go get your EBT groceries, which most of y'all, come on, don't front on me, you get them, right? Okay. So then when you go get them, they know what day you're gonna get them stamps. And they gonna be out there trying to defeat you psychologically. They gonna be out there watching your energy. That means the merchants. That means the grocery stores. That means the CVS. That means the cell phone place. All of it. And you're going to say, how is it all of it like that? Because the Freemasons did it. That's who did it. The Freemasons is the oldest fraternity in the world. Did you know that? Okay, it's the oldest fraternity. It's a fraternity. Go look up the term fraternity. It's the oldest fraternity in the world. They've had enough time to make this kind of show. In other words, just like somebody building a skyscraper. If you got 100 years to build a skyscraper, I'm not impressed, you know. You look at the Chrysler building and the Empire State Building. They had plenty of time to build it. Now, if you throw it up in a couple weeks, okay, that's kind of impressive. But in most cases, they got years to build this stuff, man. They got years. It's the same thing for the gang stalking. They had years to build the tower of gang stalking. You see what I'm saying? This didn't pop up yesterday. So it was already in place as a concept, right? For various different reasons. Call themselves protecting their country. That's what they gonna justify it on. But in this case, they struck a gas pipe. They struck a gas line, bro. When they played with us, they hit a gas line and blew up the whole country. See, when they hit me, they hit a gas line, buddy. That's what you did. You hit a gas line. And that's what it is. You know, so how you get your mind around it and understanding how could all of this be out here against us? Because they had years and years to build the skyscraper of gang stalking. So all they got to do is just activate it against you. That's it. When you understand this is the oldest fraternity, that's how it happened. That's how it's happening. It's no mystery. It's not impressive to me. If you had hundreds of years to build a fraternity and then you just activate the network against a person, that's all they're doing. That's not impressive to me. They're activating a network against you that's already been here. That's why they can just do all this stuff around you, because they have a whole network where they've networked with all these different businesses, all of them. Cell phone companies, merchants and everything, all these places, Target, Walmart, all these, the Freemasons have went out to all these people. That's what they do. They gonna go network. That's all they do. That's why to defeat them, we are going to pull down the systems that they networked with. That's why it has to happen like this. That's why you gotta let it fall apart. You gotta let America fall apart. You got to let them all fall apart, because in order for them to be defeated, you're not going to beat them, and they got a whole system. The same system they keep using against you. That got to go. And in order for them to go, that system got to go. That's how it is. That's how it goes. That's how it's got to go. Okay? You see what has to happen. Because you ain't going to be able to, if you one of them type of Christians think, well, we going to just zap them Freemason here and zap the Freemason. It's not going to work like that. We just going to get this person and that person and this person and them people over there. It's too many of them, man. It's too many. You figured that out yet? Did you figure out that it's how many of them it is? Did you notice it? You noticed it yet? So how you think all of them gonna die? How you think all of that is gonna be defeated? You see what happened, right? And this is why the war escalated. How you think we gonna beat all of them? Manually, individually, one by one, with a method of one by oneness, right? How we gonna beat them with a method of defeating them one by one? With all them people out there with all the people that they got. We have to pull down the system. You see the genius in that? The war genius in that? God is the war genius. Because I used to think like you. Well, God gonna take care of these people. He gonna take care of them. Specifically. You keep your faith in place that he can defeat them individually. Because sometimes people around you gotta drop dead. Listen, I know. It's hard for a little nice religious person to accept this. Sometimes people around you that's playing in your face gotta drop dead. And they gotta scoop them up out of here. I done had it happen in the building I was living in. People just died mysteriously. More than one. Because you can't play in the face of spiritual power and something don't happen to you. Okay? I done seen it happen in the building I'm living in. People died, they hit the news and everything. Same building I'm living in. And you know they was with the Freemasons. You know they was. They are the main people running around here. Okay, let's settle it. Let's put the name on it. Let's put the label on it. But we're beyond them, right? It's escalated beyond the Freemasons to the Americans. But let's put in place the players and who it was. It was the Freemasons. That's who it was. My brother played a famous position of going to the Freemasons. They attacked me, and it escalated to where God attacked America. That's the timeline. My brother went to the Freemasons. I'm a prophet. I told you who I am. Okay? I'm going to suffer betrayal by my own family. That was going to happen anyway. In so many ways it was going to happen. Because of the level of anointing on my life. Okay? He went to the whole black community, to the culture, everything. He talked to all these people. I got in their politics because the Freemasons went around networking talking about it. Just like they networked, they went around talking about me. They didn't even know who I was. But you know why? Now they realize they betrayed me as a prophet. That's what you did. Even though you didn't know who I was, you still betrayed me because I'm a prophet. Get it? They didn't know that. They didn't know what the real reason. Because the demons behind you was doing other stuff. Them demons was just utilizing you against me. Because I'm a prophet. That's what it was. Now it makes sense, right? Right. That's why people say we should have stopped. The Freemasons saying we should have stopped. This should have been over a long time ago. Why do you think they're saying that? Why do you think it didn't stop? Because it's demons behind it. They don't want to admit that they got demons. Okay, you do. You got demonic spirits behind you. And it's not always hideous. Like a monster. You know. A demon can be real nice talking, fair speech, demonic as they come. Okay? So the Freemasons are the ones that betrayed us. And they went to war with all the Christians. That's the other punchline. The Freemasons went to war against Christians. Yep. That's what happened. They went to war. They thought they was better than us. I'm going to tell you why. They thought they was better than us, more intelligent than us, more productive. More than anything, they thought they was more productive than us. They got the networks. They got all these networks. They work hard. They got money, everything like that. They thought we was jokes. But that's how it's going to be. God's people going to run around and they going to, you know, because of spiritual warfare and different other things, just the spiritual warfare for all our life, they going to point to us not being productive and they going to look at us like jokes. That's what happened. So they sized up Christians and went to war with Christians, thinking they was greater than us as free for them being Freemasons. They thought they was greater than us. And see, with me, they finally found somebody that they couldn't match, that had something that they didn't have. With all they had, they seen something in me that they didn't have. With all they have as Freemasons, they seen something in you that they don't have. And that's why they faking it, acting like they spiritual. It ain't nothing but psychological. The psychological is not spiritual. Mind games and all of that, and telepathy and psychic power, that's not my comparison. My comparison is manifestations. You got to manifest something in the real world. Like the real witchcraft used to do. The real witchcraft, you see stuff happen. Yeah, that part. You back in the day, real witches, they made stuff happen. And you know, I'm gonna tell you why. Because they had less distractions. They didn't have all the culture in these phones. They focused on their craft to the point they manifested. And so on God's side, you got to focus on your spiritual craft until you manifest, not witchcraft. Craft is just a word you can use for anything, right? Okay, so understand. If you're not educated on the word craft, you could have a craft of this and a craft of that. That's all the word is, So you have a craft in spiritual work in God's kingdom. You build your craft through fastings until you manifest. You don't stop. You don't think God wants you to take a break. You feel sorry for yourself and think, well, I ain't gonna do that much. And you almost think God say, oh, well, you ain't got to do that much. Nah, you do. You do. Stop putting light burdens on yourself. Put the full weight of what it takes to have a real anointing. You got to put that full weight on yourself. You got to put the full weight on your back and carry that full weight and produce that full anointing. That's the only way it's going to happen. You lying to yourself if you think you got it and you ain't bearing that full weight of fasting like we do. We go on a fast and people halfway feel sorry for us. You ain't got to feel sorry for me. I'm manifesting. I'm manifesting. Why you feel sorry for me? I'm doing great. The Americans are doing terrible, which means I'm doing great. You ain't got to feel sorry for me. I'm doing great. That's why I'm talking like this. Listen, I ain't worried about this. I got food. I could eat if I wanted to. I got plenty of food to survive off of until my stamps hit. In what's the day? The 5th? 9 more days. Less than 9 more days, right? I definitely got food for 9 more days that I could eat. But I'm listen, that and anybody tell you this, even though I fast, I might not have all the food I want, but the body gonna want to eat. which means that if it was left up to my flesh, I'm going to eat this to 9 days. I'm going to eat this to 9 days. But we got more work to do. And I'm pretty sure you see that. I'm pretty sure you see we got work to do. So I look at more of the work that we got to do. We got stuff we got to get done. It got to be known. We ain't nobody to play with, buddy. That's why I see for religious people, they ain't in the trenches like this. They ain't running hard. They ain't riding hard for God like this, man. That's why you got to wave bye-bye to all them people that's playing church and playing with God, still smoking. You know what I'm saying? I give people a grace period, man, you know, for a little bit of smoking here and there, man. Because, I mean, you know what I'm saying. You backslide, you know, and I've been through it. But at some point, bro, if you really love the Lord and then you still talk about God, when is it going to stop? When are you going to shake yourself, go on a fast and get this? See, a real righteous person is going to get that spirit off them. Eventually. I'm not saying it might be today, but at some point, you know what I'm saying? This is what I expect of a real Christian. At some point, you're going to get them devils off of you. And if you watch me, that's what I do every single time. You might see me struggling with something. And you might think, man, that's so sad. That person's supposed to be a prophet. Look at that. Look what he's doing. Smoking cigarettes, smoking weed. They gonna sit, you know, ignorant people gonna sit back like that. Smoking weed, smoking and drinking, and you know what I'm saying? Out here partying and basically partying like us. You know what I'm saying? So sad, man, to see that person out here like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what people gonna say. You know, that's how people gonna talk. So sad to see that person in that position, man. And then look at all this stuff going on with the gang stalking and everything. That's how they gonna talk. Look at all this stuff, all these people gang stalking this person, and he's sitting around, you know, in his own little world, smoking and drinking and everything, drinking himself to death. That's how they gonna talk about it when they gonna exaggerate what you're doing. You know they gonna do that. Smoking himself to death, drinking himself to death. But see, if I'm righteous, the proof is I'm gonna come out. I don't listen. That's why you gotta respect it and salute it. That person gonna come out of that stuff. Okay, you might have seen me out there, you know what I'm saying, falling down on the ground, drunk, falling down. I done been there, done that. I got real hardcore, hard body stories of like the toughest. With the toughest, I tell you, I fell out in public, drunk out in public. I don't even know how I made it home. One time I was so drunk, I'm telling you, this is no lie. I was so drunk, I fell in public, in broad daylight. I had like 12 shots of vodka. I was on like 12 or 13, like up there. And I fell out in broad daylight, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I fell out in public. I came home, cooked food, blacked out, totally blacked out. That's the scare. People who drink know that's what's the craziest thing about it. Totally blacked out. I came home, all the way home after falling on my head. I fell on my head. Skint up my head and everything, blood, everything. I fell. I tripped over a curb. When I crossed the street, I tripped over a curb and I fell. I think that's exactly how it happened. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because when you're drunk, you ain't going to look down and see the curb. And you're going to trip over it. When your feet got to come up a little more, you're going to be drunk. I came home, where I lived at that time was a maze. You know, that's what make it crazy. It wasn't a straight shot. I had to go down the street, Make a left, go down, down, down. Only the spirit inside me, God's spirit led me home, bro. I was blacked out. I don't remember. That's why I know the Holy Ghost is real. Because see, some people will tell you stories. I don't remember even getting home. I don't know how I got there. I don't know. I don't know how it happened. God was carrying you on back home, bro. That's his mercy. Because it's not about being perfect. See, in religions, they'll teach if you do this, you do that. You wasn't Christian at that time. But God is with me. God got his hand on me. And you a stupid person. You don't know about really living this life. So I done been drunk and got all the way home. Now, I done failed, got all the way home and cooked. I cooked burgers. I made burgers and everything. I done made burgers after falling, blacked out, came all the way home, put my key in the door, got in the house. That's God, man. That got to be. I came all the way home. I don't remember none of that. I don't remember even falling. I don't remember the pain. Nothing. I just blacked out. Nothing. Not kind of going in and out. Nah. I don't remember nothing. So I blacked out before I crossed the street. I woke up 9 or 10 o'clock at night in my bed. Can you imagine feeling like, oh, I was just outside. The last thing I remember, I was outside. And you wake up in your own bed. Literally, bro, I don't remember. I'm telling you, I was that drunk. So I done been through the hardcore, real drinking. Like dudes in a bar. Like that. Not baby boy drinking. Not baby boy. No, the hardcore dudes at the bar. Blacking out. Falling on the head and going home and waking up in the bed and don't know how they got there. That kind of stuff. Real man drunk. A real man drunk, right? So I wake up. I'm in my bed. I'm like, oh, okay. I come to, and I'm in my bed, right? I go look in the mirror in the bathroom. I got wounds and blood all on my head. Can you imagine looking in the mirror and and you don't remember what happened? You don't even know how that happened to you. And you see all this blood and scars on your face. And you ain't feel no pain. You don't feel pain at the time. After it happened, I didn't feel any pain after that. It was that type of situation. It was no aching and pain or nothing. It had happened. I didn't feel the impact of it. I fell literally on my head, which means I could have broke my neck and died. If you put all your weight on your head, you could snap it or something like that and die. I fell on my head. That's why I believe I tripped over the street, because how I fall head first and I'm just walking. You ain't gonna fall like that head first. If you walking and you just fall, you gonna kind of fall on your knees and legs, and your knees gonna break the fall. And you gonna kind of fall on your shoulders and your arms. You gonna fall on knees, your knees gonna hit the ground first. But if you trip, your head is moving forward real quick and you're gonna fall on your head. So that's why I believe I tripped. I went and looked in the mirror. It was blood all on my head, skin marks on my head. That's how I know I skinned my head. At first I thought I got into a fight. I said, did I black out and get into a fight? I'm tripping, like I'm really not knowing what happened. I'm serious. I thought I got into a fight. I had a Band-Aid in my pocket. I'm like, did somebody see me get knocked out and then put a Band-Aid in my pocket? Did I get in a fight? But then I realized if it was a fight, it would have been knots, not skin marks. Nobody would have punched me and I got skin marks on my head, where it was like the skin was taken off the top of my head. That's what it looked like 3 skin holes where my head skinned the ground. If it was punches, it would have been knots. If somebody punched me, it would have been knots. So I was like, okay, nah, that wasn't a fight. So man, can you imagine going to your woman and asking her, what happened to me? That's how drunk I said, what happened to me? I've been that drunk, bro. That's what I'm telling you. And I go look in the kitchen, and I had cooked burgers that overcooked. It was burnt in the oven because I passed out. I put burgers in the oven and then laid down. That's what happened. But the crazy thing is, I was doing stuff. I was functioning with these blood spots on my head, everything. I was like, I came in and made burgers. That's the crazy thing about it, bro. That's the power of a spirit. Like when your function, your brain black out, your body black out, your spirit is still doing stuff. I'm one of those type of people. I went into the kitchen. I opened the oven. There was burgers. Couldn't believe it. And I decided to sober up. Some months later, man, that kind of made me think that it was time to stop, slow down. You know what I'm saying? I'm drinking 12, 13 shots, easy, man. And functioning. I'm not walking around yelling at people, not walking around crazy. Like I said, some crazy people that drink, they wind up in jail. Although I have been so drunk, I've winded up in jail. You ever done that? I woke up, I've been passed out in California drinking, and I wake up in a jail cell. I blacked out at that time and woke up in a jail cell with my shoes off. Totally blacked out. And they were saying that it was disturbance in public, something like that. You know that charge. Disturbance in public, which I leaned over and blacked out. I woke up in jail. But I didn't get arrested. I didn't have a ticket. They didn't tell me I had a ticket, or I didn't have to comply to anything or nothing. They just let me dry out, in jail. I woke up in jail. Only time I've been arrested or taken into police custody in San Francisco, that one and only time. I passed out. Can you imagine passing out and waking up in jail? Blacked out totally. You don't remember getting in the car. That's beyond getting high, smoking weed. That's beyond that. You gotta remember, alcohol is up there with cocaine and those, because of how it affects you. Can you imagine being so high, you just wake up in jail? You don't remember getting processed. You don't remember nothing. You don't remember nobody talking to you, the police talking to you. It would have seemed that they would have called the ambulance instead of the police. Didn't happen like that. But was I crazy running around with my clothes off? I ain't never been like that. That's the crazy thing about it, But I was so drunk, I woke up in jail. Imagine in broad daylight. It's a good day. You eating pizza. It was one of those days. I had an Asian friend, this Asian girl, which was probably like in her 30s. She drunk. I gave her a slice of pizza, and I think she took a couple shots of vodka. I think she did. And I just sat there after she left and just drank to myself that day. I passed out and wind up in jail. After I gave her like a slice of pizza, I had food and everything. I forgot about the food. I forgot about that pizza. I had a whole box. That 7-Eleven pizza, I had a whole box. I gave her a slice. I'm sitting there drinking vodka. I think I remember sitting on my backpack, and I just must have just leaned over and passed out. I must have felt comfortable and just leaned over and just passed out. I woke up in jail. By myself in a jail cell. I woke up in jail. Like, looking around, I'm in jail. But I already put two and two together that I was drinking, and I done woke up in the hospital before. I done woke up in the hospital. You in the neighborhood, you pass out. Same thing, same scenario. I wake up in the hospital. I've done that more than one time. I've been in a hotel, passed out, woke up in the hospital more than one time. So you can see I'm built to last, man. I'm like iron and nails. That's why I trip off people that think they're affecting me, man. I'm built like that through Christ. Christ has made me that empowered. He's empowered me. So this spiritual war is real. My point is, man, I done had my hard days. I done had crazy stuff like that happen. But at some point, if you are righteous, you are going to get up and put the bottle down and put the weed down and put the cigarettes down. At some point, that's what you're going to do. That's what a righteous person does. So now you can have a little more respect for a person that's gotten way more drunk than you. Way more drunk than you got. Drunk as they come. Put it like that. And I can say today, I haven't had any drinks. I don't desire to drink. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not pondering it. I'm not fantasizing about it or in the feeling of getting drunk and partying. I'm not thinking about it. I'm thinking about pleasing God. And that's why I gave it up. I gave it up for God. Because I know it's biblical in the Bible, and I know I don't even have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with alcohol because I'm not drinking. I don't have any bouts with it. But alcohol is so tricky that you can make a complete fool of yourself, or you could get sloppy drunk, however you want to put it, and you really don't have a problem. You just had these things that happen. You just drunk too much, but addicted to it, like you gotta have it. I wasn't like that. I knew I wasn't like that, but some people might have thought that. I never was like that. So that's why I prove it today. I never was addicted to alcohol. I knew I could let it go. I proved it. So it's months clean. But and it's because it's a righteous root in my soul that wants to live for God. So eventually, that righteous root, I don't care what nobody say. I'm a testimony. I don't care what nobody say. If you got a righteous root in you and you backslide, that righteous root, even though the limbs might be cut off and nobody can see your fruit, that righteous root in your soul is going to produce fruit again because it's in your soul. You're going to come back to God. If you really, the true test, one of the true tests is if you backslide, will you come back to God? You taste all the pleasures of sin. You get drunk till you pass out. You get drunk and don't know and end up in the police department and like I did, or you end up in the hospital like I have multiple times, where you just, they just picking you up like a loser. They just picking you up like a bum, like somebody who just, they probably look at you like you a person that just gave up on life. That's why you that drunk like that. But that's really not the truth. You know? But at some point when people think it's just hopeless for somebody like that to get that drunk, that person's probably going to be drinking forever, right? At least in that context. And then you stop drinking. And nobody can believe it. And that gives glory to God. That's who I am right now today. Because it was a righteous root in me that don't want to be that drunk anyway like that. But not to the point where I'm passing out and I don't remember why I'm waking up somewhere else. I don't know how I even got to the other place. You know, and if you're really a righteous person that really have pursued God, your soul is really trying to get God, but you're replacing it with these other things. You're really trying to get high to feel to feel that feeling that you feel that when you're connected to God. That's what it is. That's why you struggle with alcohol. You trying to get that. You trying to fill that void that you feel when you close to God. That's for God's true high-ranking Christians. If you backslide as a high-ranking Christian, you're gonna be trying to fill that void with sex, relationships, alcohol, but these extremes though, these extremities, like just over drinking and everything like that, you know, that's gonna do it, you know, because that's what's gonna be the thing that you do to try to do it, to try to fill this void, and it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You're gonna go too far to where you're blacking out, but you're really trying to climb and elevate spiritually. That's what you're trying to do. And you ain't gonna be happy until you fasting. Like now I'm fasting, I'm seeking the Lord. Now I'm feeling them good feelings, like, you know, now I'm feeling that good, that satisfaction in my soul that only seeking God can feel, you know. So some people say that almost like cliche, that God can fill these voids, but he really can. Like, and once you get close to God, that's all you're gonna want. That's all you're gonna want. That's why I'm completely comfortable being on my own, because God is with me. I don't need nothing else. Not alcohol, not weed, not cigarettes, not nothing. That's how you know somebody's seeking God. It's a righteous root that's in my soul. And even if the limbs get torn down by my own actions, I'm still going to produce fruit eventually because of the righteous root. That's just what it is. That's what it is for me. That's what it is for God's true righteous people. I'm not saying you won't ever make no mistakes. You will. You might. If you do, that righteous root that's in you is going to eventually, at some point, that righteous root is going to get up. And you're going to come back to God on your own. Nobody in the streets ain't got to tell you nothing. Ain't nobody got to come to you and talk about God. You got a righteous root in you, and you're going to get back up on your own with the strength of God. And so that's who I am today. At some point, man, you got to get back up, man. And that's the true test of the righteous. The righteous going to get back up. The Bible says a just man falls 7 times and rise up again. And that's the confirmation. You're going to fall. But the true test is you're going to rise up again. The righteous man falls 7 times. and riseth up again. See, everybody else stay down. You get back up. It don't matter. It's too late to be perfect. It's too late for that. You already messed up. So what you gonna do? Hang on the fact that you didn't do it perfectly. You didn't live the perfect Christian life, or are you just gonna move forward? But for your love for God, you're gonna move forward. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna move forward. Okay? And so that's part of who I am. That's my story. I got hardcore stuff. And I almost died from alcohol poisoning. The doctor told me the alcohol, he put it in my paper report. You know how they give you the paperwork on when you get out of the hospital? My paperwork said, we know you've had struggles with alcohol, but this time it nearly took your life. Almost died. I've already been there, done that. I was on death's door. In the hospital, in the ICU. I stopped breathing. They put the breath ventilator because I couldn't breathe on my own. I had stopped breathing. If I wasn't in the hospital, I would have died from a lack of oxygen. I wouldn't have survived. So you're not talking to a boy, a kid, you know. I've been in the ICU where I'm the person on the breath ventilator. You go by and you see these people. If you ever been in the hospital and you just look over at the ICU and see all these horrible looking people, I was one of those people, laid up in the ICU, breathing through a breath ventilator because I stopped breathing on my own. And I think I remember tasting like the oxygen, the air they put in your lungs. You can taste it when you wake up. I was blacked out for like 16 hours. So I almost died. It's already happened to me. You know what I mean? And when the doctor tell you almost died, you almost died. He said you was non-responsive. You wasn't responding. I stopped breathing. And they had to give me the breath in ventilators to put oxygen in my lungs and my body. So, you know, you're looking at somebody that done been through death, almost dying. That's why, you know, I'm stronger than the average person. I look at life differently. You know what I'm saying? And I don't take nothing off no enemies. I don't take nothing off these Americans. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the chump they thought I was. You know what I'm saying? I'm too hard. I'm too hard, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't look like what I've been through, like people say. You know what I'm saying? But now you can see, you get a glimpse of what I've been through. You know what I mean? But I don't look like what I've been through. You know what I'm saying? I don't carry that on me. I don't look like somebody bugged out and just stopped drinking, you know, and they look bugged out. And they look like they party real hard. I don't even look like I party. I don't look like I party like I have. You know what I'm saying? I don't look like the person that was drinking like I was drinking. That's liquor, not beer. That's liquor. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't even drink liquor. You know, so I was a liquor drinker, and that's part of my testimony of glory to God, of how God pulled me up out of those situations, you know, where I was almost dead. I couldn't even help myself. I couldn't pray for myself. Nothing. I'm just there in between life and death. God decides. I can't do nothing for myself. When you in that ICU and you black, you out. You out, bro. God decides. So I've been in that crossroads all before in my life. You know what I'm saying? That's just the same equivalent of getting shot up out here, and you can't do nothing for yourself. If you in that ICU, you done got shot up. You at that crossroad, buddy. You know what I'm saying? And nothing can't save you. Nothing. You know, God decides. You know, so in my case, God had mercy on me. You know what I'm saying? I was at that crossroad, and I almost died. I couldn't get myself out of that. You're right there between life and death, and you can't get yourself out. You know, and facing death is facing death. Bottom line, you can't trivialize it. You can't act like, well, you know, that's because of alcohol. I mean, it's the same thing. You knocking on death's door, buddy. It's the same thing. It's the same door. It's the same door of death. And you have the same feeling like you could have been dead. I could have been dead 6 years ago. I could have been dead 6 years ago. And so, you know, I'm grateful I'm here. I thank God I'm here, you know what I'm saying? But if you think this is like a patty cake, pancake, 1, 2, 3, ABC kind of videos and I'm wet behind the ears, you tripping. I'm a grown man, a real grown man that's done been out here almost dead from drinking, over drinking, in the ICU with alcohol poisoning, you know, waking up and vomiting. Now, once I woke up, I'm just throwing up, vomiting. That's stage 2. You know, once I came up, I'm going through vomiting and still being drunk, still kind of tipsy, still tipsy. Drinking, throwing up, vomiting. I just got like a can right there, like a little thing. I'm just throwing up, vomiting. I ain't putting nothing on my stomach or nothing. Just still vomiting. But I got an IV, man. So, but that's only some people know about being in between death, life and death, where you can't even save yourself. Ain't nothing. The doctors can't even help save you. God decides. That's why it's a war, man. We're playing with my life, because like, unlike these clowns, I've been through real life. You see what I'm saying? And some people, they ain't never been that close to death in their life. Not in their life, you know. Not really that close. You know what I'm saying? They might have got shot up or something like that, but they ain't really been at death's door like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful. You know what I'm saying? At times, maybe I didn't appear to be grateful for being able to come back and live. You know, but I really am grateful, and I'm glad to now show it to God that I'm grateful for life by my sobriety. You know, I'm sober. You know what I'm saying? And I feel good being sober. You know what I'm saying? I'm not struggling with it. I don't despise my position. I feel great. I haven't smoked weed. I haven't smoked cigarettes in almost 2 years. I'm doing great, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't smoking no more weed and you know, smoking cigarettes all the time. I used to do that too. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm free from that. You know what I'm saying? But people might not understand how hardcore your habits was. That's up there with people that really do drugs. You know what I'm saying? You wind up in the ICU about to die. You're just like someone that shoots heroin or do cocaine or all these other vices. You're in the dope show with everybody else. You're one of the dope show legends. You come back from that, you know, after almost dying, you know. It don't matter what the vice was. You was up there with the best of them. Well, you almost died. You know, you didn't know if you was gonna live. The doctor said he didn't even know if I was gonna live. They deal with people all the time. They know who's gonna live and die. He didn't know if I was gonna live. Imagine that situation. Doctor knows, okay, this person pretty good, you know what I'm saying? They used to seeing it hundreds and hundreds of times. Okay, he pretty good now. He didn't know. He told me he didn't know if I was gonna make it. He told me to my face, you was unresponsive. We didn't know if he was gonna make it. You know? And I'm glad that I got a chance to show God that I'm grateful for my life, and that I'm grateful for life. You know what I mean? And I believe God had compassion from all I've been through, because He's seen everything I went through. He's seen this stuff, these gang stalkers and everything. Some people would think that that's probably why he was drinking so much. All them gang stalkers and stuff, he probably was drinking it away. You know what I mean? He was drinking all of that away. That's what people probably was thinking, you know. But the bottom line is, man, the bottom line is I'm not drinking today, and I'm sober, and I'm happy today. You know what I'm saying? I'm very happy, sober and happy. You know, because I take my vitamins. I take my vitamins, right? And that's what really maximizes my sobriety, is my vitamins. The vitamins is what maximizes my sobriety. I really feel alive taking my vitamins and everything. See, some people get sober. They stop drinking, they stop smoking, but they don't maximize their sobriety because they don't got the right teachers. The right teachers don't tell them what to do. You gotta take vitamins so you can feel all the way up and alive, and your faculties are, your mental faculties are all the way stimulated, and you can think, you can write, you can read, you can do stuff, and your sense of well-being and morale is good and strong, and it's all the way up where it needs to be. And the way you're gonna feel that way is your vitamins. You know, your vitamins is what you need in your body as a person. And if you just stop doing your vices and you don't take vitamins, you really ain't gonna treasure your sobriety as much as you would if you took vitamins. You took vitamins, you like, oh, okay, I like this feeling. I feel good. I feel a sense of good well-being. But I didn't feel this way if I was just clean by myself without vitamins. With vitamins, they're so underrated in an American community. Man, I feel so much better. You know? And so I just wanted to go down that rabbit trail a little bit and explain, you know, my position in being this righteous person that I am. And now you can see it's real. It's not a script. It's never a script. Even if I'm reading something that I wrote, it's from the heart. It's from the soul. It's not. This is no scripts. This ain't no wet behind the ears type of story. And I'm not a wet behind the ears type of person. You know what I'm saying? I've been through hardcore situations, and that's why it's just God is not having no mercy on people that bother me after I almost died. You know what I'm saying? See, people think they being a savage until you turn around and they think you a savage. You see how it works? Because a lot of people in our community would think, well, after he almost died and everything he been through, these people still playing with this person. And they get off on people being shocked about that they still playing with this person after he almost died and everything like that. And so as to say they're savages and everything. They're not built like savages. You know what I'm saying? A savage don't have no family. They don't have nothing to lose. And because if you how you gonna be a savage and you're a family man and the streets can take your family and kill your family? You can't be a savage in the streets and you got a family. So a savage don't got no family. A real savage don't have no family, because if you a real savage in the streets, what you think gonna happen to you with you being a savage in the streets and you got a family? They gonna attack your family. They gonna attack your children and your wife and everything. I'm talking about real cutthroats. I'm talking about real cutthroats. Not that fake stuff. The real cutthroats. They gonna attack your family. So if a savage can't be no family man, that's a lie. And that's why these old dudes need to come out the streets riding around in their little cars and everything. You know the type. Riding around in these politics and riding around, speeding around in the streets in these politics, and you got 3 and 4 kids, man. You can't be no savage. A savage is a person that don't got no family. They gotta leave their mama behind. They gotta leave their dad behind. They gotta leave their brothers and sisters behind. That person becomes a savage because they ain't really got nothing to live for, or they ain't really got nothing to look forward to. You know what I mean when I say live for it? Like, it's nothing to look forward to. It's nothing in their life. You know, and that's a savage. That's what produces that kind of I'm talking about for me. That's what produces that mentality to me. That's the perfect person for savagery, if you will, because they ain't got nothing to lose. How you gonna be a savage and you got family? You got a little kid, little daughter. You ain't, you got too much love in your heart. You go home to love. A savage is a person that ain't got no love from nobody. They ain't got no family. They ain't got nobody ain't loving them or nothing. That's what produces the heart of a savage. A real savage, to me. If you got family, nah, you ain't no savage, bro. Not as far as how I see it. Cause you and if you are, you're a fool because you got a family. Anybody could just take your family. When you out there doing savagery, you out there doing savagery, and somebody can just kill your family, and you want to die. Once they kill your baby girl, you want to die. You gonna want to die, especially if you know it's because of you. You gonna want to die. So you just as good as dead if they kill your family, and some people know that. You know, and so a real savage, my point is these people thinking they savages by still attacking my life, and I almost died. You know what I'm saying? They'll think they being savages for that, and but then we see in the end they're not built to be a savage. They're not no savages. They not a savage at all. You know, they start folding and wanting to kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never thought about my true testimony is also I ain't never thought about killing myself one day in my life. Through all I've been through. I've been through the streets. I've been through all this. You hear some of the stuff I've been through, and I ain't never thought about killing myself. I love myself. I ain't never thought about that. I'm just in the trenches, so But loving me, I love myself regardless of everything. So ain't nobody gonna ever see me. These secret society people want to kill themselves right now. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never thought about that. So they in worse shape than us. But yeah, people out here trying to be savages for the community, for these light-skinned girls, how I like to put it. Because anytime you see these dudes out here, more times than not, you're going to find a little girl somewhere. Some little light-skinned girl they trying to impress. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, man. They all out there. They trying to press these light-skinned girls. You know what I'm saying? And until it run out, and then her face changed because the world done changed, and everybody know it's a lost cause for playing with me. You know, it's a lost cause. You know, your light-skinned girls looking funny now these days, ain't they? They looking funny. You know why they looking funny? Because they know they looking at the rest of the world. How all of this is falling apart. And I told people this was going to happen. They looking at the country and how it's falling apart. So you ain't able to impress them light-skinned girls like you used to, huh? I'm pretty sure you're not. But that's what made you feel like you could be a savage and play with me and play in my lane, right? You know what I'm saying? And really you ain't built like no savage. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what it consists of, the full design of a savage. You know, a real savage ain't got no family, ain't got no love, and none of that. And that's what produced that savagery. Is the person ain't got no family, no love, nothing. Think about it. That's what's gonna produce it. Now you got baby girls. You gonna think about living your life right to see that child grow up. That's what's gonna do it. And then you got your baby mama. You know, you got love from her. And she gonna try to pull you out the streets and stuff to see that little girl grow up. So you ain't gonna be out here in the streets. You know, if it's not from your baby mama or it's your own heart gonna pull you out the streets. Eventually, to a certain degree, where you ain't really producing no savagery. And if you are, you're a fool because you got a family. Person that ain't got no family is the worst nightmare. I don't have no family. In New York, I don't have no family. So imagine me. I don't have no family in New York. I'm the one that's the savage. I don't have no family. I don't have no love. I don't have nobody loving me. I don't have nobody. That's savage. That's why I'm in the perfect position to do what I need to do. How I'm gonna do it though is you know, I ain't doing it the way a savage would do it necessarily. But I got full focus. I got the focus to full focus in war where I'm not thinking about family or I'm not thinking about none of that. And so in spiritual warfare, I can apply it. You know, you see that we can apply certain things in spiritual warfare. You see what I'm saying? Some of these dynamics like that. You know, I don't have no family. You know, I'm gonna produce great spiritual warfare because I'm gonna give it my all. You know what I'm saying? I'm digging all the way in, and I ain't scared to die. You know what I'm saying? I'm really not. You know, I don't got no family in New York. I don't got no family members here in this city. So I'm gonna be harder than you. I'm gonna be tougher than you. I ain't got no love I'm getting from nobody. I'm gonna be way harder than you, stronger than you. When I gotta stand on my own, I ain't got no family and loving me and all of that. Physically, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got none of that going on. You can't. That's why I don't let people that go home to family and kids and act like they me. Like you not me, bro. You got family. I don't got nobody to lean on. I might have family from a distance, but that's still not the same thing. It's not. I don't have no family here. I don't have nobody to look into my face and you know what I'm saying, no camaraderie. And I'm good. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And see, some people say that's why you're a savage, because you can stand on your own. You can stand on your own. You ain't got to. I see a savage. You don't got to. You'll think I'm a snake because in black culture, somebody that be alone by themselves so much is a snake to them. Because I ain't got to have no family. I don't got to rely on no family. I don't got to rely on nobody. And to them, that's a kind of a snake person. Like, because at some point they feel like you got to have some kind of love. You got to have some kind of family. I don't have no physically. Physically, I don't have no family. And I'm okay. I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? And but my enemies need to know the real truth. You know, they need to know my savagery, so to speak, is going to be a little more harder than yours. You know what I'm saying? Because you got family around. You got family you talk to and lean on and all of that. You know what I'm saying? That part. But I don't. So I'm going to be harder than you in war. I'm going to be way more focused. Okay? So in this spiritual war, man, you know, it's real. You know what I'm saying? We know that the Americans helped. The Americans helped these people. Now we back on track. The Americans helped these people. They helped them. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. It might break your heart. It don't break mine, but it might break your heart. But these Americans help these people. Trump know about this stuff. The police know about it. It might be hard for you to believe this, but they know about all of this stuff. Okay? And they thought they were being savages by adding all these people. That's the part, because that's how they got their response from the community, by adding all these people. What made people think, oh, that's crazy, all these people. See, they got off on that response. Oh, that's crazy. That's what they looking for. That's what they constantly looking for, is the community to respond like, oh, that's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what they get off on. But they're not getting that same effect anymore. We getting that effect. God's people is getting that effect. We getting that effect. They tripping off of us now. They tripping off of our results and what we doing. Let's keep in mind, man, why people always paying attention to what these people out there doing. Man, listen, they ain't even doing nothing to us. We getting this done. You know what I'm saying? Like, people say, look what they have done. No, look at what we have done. Look at what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. They ain't doing nothing to me. That's what my other message was about. They ain't making no manifestations. They ain't getting no spiritual manifestation. They get too much credit. They get too much credit. They ain't doing nothing. They not. I mean, that's all they do is ride around. That's all they doing out there, riding around. These gang stalkers riding around. That's all they doing. How much credit they gonna get for riding around every year? Every year they riding around. How much credit they gonna get for riding around, bruh? That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly how I see it. Riding around. How much credit you gonna give these people? You seen them doing this time last year. Last year they was doing the same thing. Riding around. How much credit you gonna give these people? That's what you gotta start looking at. They doing the same thing. They put people around us. They put people in these buildings around us. It's the same old game, bro. That's how I know what I'm talking about, man. This old building they got using against me. They did that the other time. They did that in 2024. 2 years ago. They was doing the same thing they doing now. That's what I'm talking about, man. So, you know, we doing new things. You know what I'm saying? We getting new wins, most importantly. Besides what we doing, you know what we doing? We getting new wins. That's what we doing. And we don't get enough credit as God's people, man. Because they going with the lights and smoke and the mirrors and the whistles. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, we they ain't producing nothing. They ain't manifesting nothing in the real world. That's what we talk about. I talk in terms of real life. All the time I talk. I don't talk about no hocus pocus. No, some superstitious cloud nine stuff. I don't deal with conspiracy theories. I don't talk about none of that. You notice that? I talk about real life, man. Somebody that traveled like I have, how you think I'm going to start talking hocus pocus and superstitious stuff? I travel too much. I done been everywhere. I done lived on the West Coast. I lived in California. If I ain't lived there, I've been through there. I've been through Vegas, Chicago, Detroit, Miami, Dallas, Houston, everywhere. If it's a city worth something, I done seen it. You know what I mean? So, I done seen Chicago. I done been through Chicago. I done got love for the locals in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And so that tells you what type of person I am. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm all about real life. I'm not about no hocus pocus and psychological Mickey Mouse stuff. People are stuck on retarded clown. They say demon time. No, that's clown time to me. I done lived like I said, if I ain't lived there, I've been through there. New Orleans, I done seen New Orleans, all of that. You know what I mean? So, man, my soul has been everywhere. That's what you can know about me. In your city, I'd have been through your city. Atlanta, I've been through Atlanta a million times. I used to go to Atlanta as a kid. I've been to Martin Luther King Jr.'s house. The house that they got where he lived at, they set up for a memorial, a museum, or how you want to put it. You know what I mean? They set it up for people to tour his house. I seen that as a kid. I seen Martin Luther King Jr.'s house, the house he lived in. He slept and lived in, ate in, everything. I've been through that house. You know what I'm saying? So, I can say I've been in the same room as Martin Luther King Jr. That hit a little different when you realize I'm a prophet. I've been in the same room as Martin Luther King Jr. I've been in the same house as Martin Luther King Jr. And you haven't. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, man. So this spiritual war, man, this is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? They use the Americans against us, and it's not that we hold it against them. People look at things in an emotional context. They look at things from an emotional perspective. It ain't got nothing to do with no emotions. It don't have nothing to do with the emotions of the situation. Emotions don't drive this situation. My emotions don't drive this situation. This is determined, man, ultimately by God himself for what's happening to this country. I'm not determining that on my own. These people thought that they could throw a rock and hide their hand. These Americans thought it would be cool to join these people and play in our face. And it would be a fun time, a theme park for the family and the kids. They brought the kids out. See, they thought, in the mind of these American internet people, they thought they were being savages, man. That's what I'm trying to show you. That's what they thought in their mind. They thought they was sitting back on you like we being a savage by doing this. Them not savages, bruh. Them internet savages. Okay, according to the internet, you might have been a savage. According to these mediocre internet people, you might have been a savage. But according to my world, what I live in, I done been around killers. I done been around real killers that killed people. That took people to the grave. You understand me? And you haven't. Most of you that are Freemasons, you haven't been around no killers, And I have. Okay? I have. I already popped that cherry. I already popped that cherry. I already been around killers. So that's why I try to tell you, I'm already turned out, so to speak. I'm already turned out, bro. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't do all the drugs what people might qualify you to be turned out with. I didn't do all the drugs, but I'm already turned out. I just became a Christian. You know what I mean? And you could take that for weakness. You could take me being a Christian for weakness and lose your life. Because I stay armed all the time. The last person that came in this room found that out the hard way. You know what I'm saying? Backed up out this room. And that's what I'm saying. I'm living in emergency housing right now. And somebody broke through my door. And I had weapons. And I'm armed. And I pulled my weapons. And this dude seen what time it was. You know what I'm saying? He backed up out of here. See, I practice. If you don't gotta be, people say you don't gotta get ready when you ready. You know what I'm talking about. If you don't ready, if you're ready, you ain't gotta get ready. You know what I'm saying? If I'm ready, I ain't gotta get ready, man. I'm always ready, bro. I'm always thinking in terms of that. That's what I'm saying. But I'm a Christian man as well. But I'm in spiritual warfare, and I described that in my last video. This is a spiritual warfare position on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? This ain't something we put off and we put on a cape on the weekends, and we put on the cape in the midway through the week or whatever. This is a position every day. We in the trenches every day. We in these spiritual warfare positions in trenches every single day, right? You know what I'm saying? It ain't no days off. You know what I'm saying? We can have fun and enjoy our life to a certain degree, but the war still rages. You know what I'm saying? Because we gotta get results. These people gotta suffer for what they've done, man. And you gotta come to terms with it. It's not your will, but God's will be done. Because if you got a good heart, I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do if you got a good heart. If you got a good heart, you gonna if you got a good heart, you gonna have compassion for the things that these Americans are going through. You gonna have compassion. You gonna, you gonna try to give the benefit of the doubt. You gonna think about the kids. You gonna think about the good, lovely people that you see on TV and on the internet, and you gonna think that we need to save these people. That they worth saving. That's what you're gonna think. I'm telling you with a good heart. But it's not your will. It's God's will. Just like Jesus said, not my will, thy will be done. That's what you gotta say, like Jesus. You ain't gonna get crucified because only the Christ did that. He said it is finished. That means nobody else get crucified, not me or you, because it's finished. Right? The world don't know that. We know that. We know it's finished because Jesus Christ, the Messiah, said it's finished. So you're not going to be crucified. You're going to have to say, in this particular situation, not my will, but thine will be done. Not God, not my will, what I want to get done. Not my will, God's will be done. And you know what? That's not going to be in terms of all these children and all this love stuff going on in the love train in America. It ain't going to be based on the love train smoking through America. Okay? That's why it gets deep. God is going to look at all this killing, all these people killing children, and God is not going to consider your family when you've been killing children in America. That's out the window for negotiation. You can't kill children and then talk about keeping the society open for your children. That's 7 out. You ain't gonna be able to do that, buddy. You ain't got the luxury of talking about your children, but you killing them at the same time, bruh. Come on now. Come on. See, this is where it bites you in the butt, where you've been talking about these children, but you've been killing them at the same time. Now you ain't got no credibility when you yell before God in the community, talking about keeping the community open for your children. Now you ain't got no credibility with that. No, you ain't got no credibility with that. You killing the children yourself. How you got credibility? So then nobody's trying to hear that. And that's where your karma is, with killing all them children. It's the worst place it could be when you talk about keeping the society open for your children, but you don't got no credibility. And God ain't even trying to hear it. You know why? Because you're killing all these children. You're killing all these children, then talking about keeping the society open for children. That's a joke. That's a big joke. They dying here. Do you realize that? Do you realize in America the children are dying? They're getting killed. They're getting killed. Okay? Wake up. Okay? You can't talk about that. It doesn't have any credibility. No credibility. So it bites you in the butt. Now all the killing you've been doing out here in the streets. And with the kids. And now when the time comes when you want to talk about, well, we're keeping the society open. See what I'm saying? You wasn't thinking about that before. Now you all of a sudden you're thinking about talking about keeping the society open for kids. That's why that Jedi mind trick ain't gonna work. That's 7 out. It ain't gonna work, buddy. It ain't gonna work with God. You can't plead to God, keep the society open for the children, but you've been killing the children at the same time, simultaneously. Simultaneously, you've been killing the children the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Why now you plead now, and at the same time you plead now for God to protect you protect the family and protect the children. Nah, bruh. You didn't even do it yourself. You're asking God to do it, but you ain't even do it yourself. You wasn't a good steward over your own community of children. Now, were you? No, you wasn't. Keep in mind, you've been marrying children by law in the United States of America. You've been marrying children. You put all that together. And do you think God's wrath is going to be stopped when you talk about loving children and protecting children, but you've been killing children and marrying children in the United States? Do you think God's wrath is going to stop concerning children? It's not, buddy. I'm sorry to tell you. Russia does not marry children. China does not marry children. No, they do not. But you do, as the United States. You marry children. That's why Trump is mad at me. That's why they ain't trying to help me. Because I'm talking about child marriage laws in America. They can't stand it. They can't stand it because I crush your whole image of who you are to the community. Ain't nobody trying to hear none of this stuff. If we know you marrying children, no. You can't talk about pedophiles. You can't talk about loving the people and loving the children. None of that makes sense to me when you're marrying children. You can't talk about the well-being of children because you're marrying children. That's a danger to the well-being of children. You can't talk about nothing. Neither can these psychological people and these telepaths and psychics. They can't tell you nothing about me psychologically because they marrying children in the country. What does it matter? What different? How does it matter? What I'm thinking about when they marrying children. That's what I'm saying. So you got to come to terms with, man, basically, man, this country has become the enemy, man, and God has decided to destroy these people. How he going to do it is God is going to shut down the systems of this country. That's why you got to get ready to be without food stamps. Black people, we done depended on food stamps, me included, for me, about 13 years. No lie, no lie, man. I got food stamps back 13 years ago in Brooklyn, here in Brooklyn, when I was on food stamps in 2012. That's where I really started taking food stamps seriously, to take care of myself. I think that was the first time officially I was on food stamps. Yeah, that was the first time, when I came to New York. That's actually the first time I got on food stamps. Then I went back down south and got food stamps down there before too. Okay, so about 13 years for me, going on 14 years. Yeah. But that time is gone. Because you can clearly see, man, with this chipping away at the government and the government shutdowns and all that, and they already playing around the food stamps, what you think gonna happen eventually? Eventually it's gonna fold either way it go. It's going to fold, bruh. I'm telling you right now. Prepare for it. If you already see it happening and you think it's just going to stay on and it's going to stay on for another 10 years, you tripping. It's not going to stay on for another 10 years. And so when you see the signs, you should start preparing now. And it's so sad, some people, they ain't going to prepare. Some people ain't getting the food stamps now because of the work compliance that you gotta have. Some people done stopped getting the food stamps already. It's already a darker time for people. It's already happening for some people. This system, and that confirms what I'm talking about. This system is going to fall apart. It's already falling apart. Trump probably most likely is going to be a big part in this system falling apart. You can clearly see it. How he doing this and doing that, doing all of this stuff. Eventually, man, he gonna hit a gas line and mess up the economy and mess up everything. The tariffs, he ain't done doing the tariffs. Keep that in mind. This the first year, the second year. Keep that in mind. He still got 3 more years. So it ain't the end of the tariffs. all around the world, and and if you don't do that tariff stuff right and know what you're doing, that's gonna destroy the economy of America. That's what's gonna do it. And that's gonna be probably a big part of what's gonna do it. The tariffs and all of that. So man, I'm just trying to show you to stay realistic. Keep it 100. Stop being so optimistic to a fault where you just think things are gonna fall in line, and you know better than that. Your intuition is telling you better. See, I'm a realist. Everybody's not a realist. It sounds cool to say that you're a realist, but everybody don't think like a realist. Me, I'm a realist because I incorporate reality into every situation. And some people don't do that. They put their optimism in every reality. They put what they want to happen in their perspectives of and when they talk and everything. I incorporate reality. That's what makes me a realist. Okay? Trump. If you listen to how I talk, I'm always incorporating reality into my conversation. That's a realist. If you're not incorporating consistently reality into this situation, you're not a realist. You're not. It's cool to say, just like keeping it 100. Everybody gonna say they keep it 100, and everybody gonna say they're a realist. It's the same situation. You're not a realist because you don't incorporate reality in terms of all these situations. In these situations, no, you don't. When you do that, you wake up. See, it's safe. It feels good to not incorporate reality. And to act like everything is okay. It feels good. It's comfortable. But you wind up paying the price because you didn't prepare yourself. You're not mentally prepared. You're not physically or spiritually prepared. You're not prepared in any sense of the word, right? That's what happens when you ignore reality. You're not prepared in any sense of the word. Ain't no way in the world 3 more years of Trump you gonna tell me this system gonna stand. Most likely not, man. Most likely not. Most likely not. And I base that on his consistent, already proven actions all around the world. You can clearly see. You can clearly see this. Can you imagine this time next year in 2027? This time next year in February 2027, can you imagine? You can't even say it. You can't even, anybody that could say they know what's gonna happen, you're arrogant, man. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know from day to day at this point what's gonna happen. No one does, not even me. Prophets can't even tell you what's going to happen. I can tell you the prophecies, but I can't tell you from day to day what's going to happen. No, not with a person like that. Trump is unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do from day to day. You wake up one day, you don't know what he done. You don't know what he's going to do. You have no way of knowing. That's how you live. See, that's a realist. That's how you live. And it's not being a negative person. It's not being negative. It's being real. It's being real, And some people can't be real when it comes to navigating, moving forward, As they move forward, they can't be real moving forward. They can be real imposed in these positions and square up and be real as they square up, like in the streets. But you can't navigate being real as you move forward. So what's more beautiful? Somebody that can square up and be real, or somebody that can navigate and be real? That's going to look more beautiful. I navigate with being real. You know what I mean? You look at 3 years ahead, you look 3 more years, this country ain't going to be with Trump. Can you imagine? You can't. It's going to be crazy. You can already see it. You can already see it. You can already see it, man. If it's already under this kind of strain and trouble and all of that, What you think gonna happen in the next 3 years? Good things? Most likely not. And how we know? The mentality of the people is gone. See, once the mentality of the people is gone, it's over. It's over. The mentality of the people is gone. How you gonna get that back? Which means even if Trump supplied money for everybody, the minds of the people is gone. They ain't gonna get better. How you know it's the end is because you can see that with understanding the people that you live around, they ain't gonna get better with money. Money ain't gonna make them better. Because if we got, let's just say we got a 3,000 check each one of us every month, it'll be people trying to hustle and rob you for your 3,000. They 3,000 won't be enough. Like me and you can live off of 3,000. I can live off of $3,000 a month, easy, and I'll be content and everything. You doing it with less on the EBT with the cash on the assistance. You doing it with less, and you're content to a certain degree, right? But there are people that even if we gave our community more money, even the black community, if we gave these people more money, they not gonna be happy. They not gonna change their mentality. It's gonna make it worse. That's how bad it is. If we gave people checks, it's gonna make it worse. It's gonna be more gunplay because people gonna have more guns. If I get a $3,000 check, I can take the $3,000 and get me a nice gun, easy, real good gun with $3,000. Oh yeah, I can get me a real good gun with $3,000. I can get me a chopper, SKS, or Draco. I probably can get a Draco for $3,000, especially when they know people get that $3,000 check. They might just go ahead and cut you a deal. Most hustlers is gonna go ahead and let you get that Draco for that whole $3,000. Cause you ain't gonna spend no more than about $4,000 or $5,000 for a Draco anyway. That's what kind of gun I want is a Draco. Cause they got AK-47 bullets and it's more compressed of a gun, you know, and they got AK-47 bullets. I already know what kind of gun I want, buddy. Just in case you thought I'm tripping out here, you think I'm a cartoon. I already know what type of gun I want, everything. Draco, SKS, the choppers, what everybody used to have, the SKS. That's the real name for them, the SKSs. It's called an SKS. That's the choppers, what people call choppers. Everybody off the choppers, everybody about them Dracos now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's better. Draco is better. It's compressed, and I liked it for how it looked, but then I liked it for also the bullet, the caliber of bullets it got, which was the AK bullets. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know. Now I see why everybody on it. They got like micro Dracos and mini Dracos. I take either one. Micro Dracos, mini Dracos, I don't care. So I already know what kind of guns I want. I already know what kind of gun I want. The top gun I want. You know, moving forward into the future with all this stuff going on and the wars going on, I already know what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? Some people ain't even got their head on right like that. Think about it. Okay, what kind of gun you want? Okay, so you ain't come to the thoughts of carrying a gun and all this stuff going on. You ain't thought about it. I have, and I know what kind of gun I want. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so when the time comes, I'll be ready for me getting a gun because I know what kind of gun I want. Makes sense? So like this is real, you know what I'm saying? Like you know, if you thought I was play, you thought I was a play warrior or soldier, I also talk about being armed because I definitely believe in that, you know what I'm saying? Because my philosophy is that if some devils get through the cracks of your doors or through the cracks of your life, you'll have something waiting for them. What's wrong with that? If some devils get through your life and try to get to you, you'll have something waiting for them. What's wrong with that? That's wisdom. That's wisdom. That's discretion, definitely, for sure. That's discretion. Now, if somebody get through the cracks and they act like they want it, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have something waiting for them. You know, that it's nothing wrong with that mentality. That's discretion. That's not being evil. That's protecting your life. It's a wrong way to think about carrying arms. It's a correct way to think about carrying arms. And if you're a grown man or woman, I don't see how you're not thinking about the correct way of carrying arms. I don't see why you haven't thought about it. Unless you don't got good mental health. If you don't got good mental health, you can't have a gun because you might kill yourself with the gun. You gotta have great mental health. And that's how you know I'm in my right mind, because I can articulate that first and foremost. And that's how you know, and I'm capable of doing it. I always keep weapons on me. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't never thought about hurting myself with my own weapons. You know what I'm saying? My weapon is my friend, my comrade. My friend is my comrade, man, to the end. You know what I'm saying? You love your weapons. You know what I mean? Especially when you got them for X amount of time, it's a sentimental value behind them. That happens with weapons, yeah. Any kind of weapons to defend yourself and ward off evil. You're gonna grow. You can't be blind. You can't be simple-minded. You got to think about all different types of weapons you can carry, like mace. I'm giving me some pepper spray and mace too. I already done priced it online. The legal kind of mace or pepper spray that you can carry in New York City. You got to look in your city because the laws vary from city to city. So you look in your city and see what kind of mace or pepper spray you can carry, because all of it ain't legal. You know what I'm saying? You got to find legal mace and legal pepper spray. Between those two terms in New York City, I looked it up already. It's only $15. Look at that. You got mace, you sprayed it in somebody's face, I guarantee you, buddy, they ain't gonna play nothing. Listen, you spray it right in their eyes, all they gonna try to do is get themselves together. That's all they gonna try to do, buddy. So I'm also thinking about getting that mace too, getting some mace. Heck yeah. That's right. Keep that on. It's legal too. You spray that into somebody's face if they look like they're a threat. See, my woman, if I do get married again, she gonna have all of that mace, all of that. Somebody run up on my woman, she gonna have mace, spray them in the face. Like, man, if they got a gun, they ain't gonna be able to shoot the gun, cause they gonna be so sprayed in their face. If you spray it right, they ain't gonna be able to see straight, bro. They ain't gonna be able to see straight. See, I think some mace blinds people if you use too much. That's why it's illegal. If you spray too much in somebody's face, it'll blind them. You know what I mean? So I think that's what it is. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Because I have heard of like mace or something like that blinding people. I think it's mace that can blind people. So, But all of this adds to my story, man. You got to put it all together. Prophetic messages are usually like this, man. It all comes together. I'm not off track. I know what I'm doing. I could easily just stick on to the topic, but this is all coming together, man. And that's how you got to put this message together. These Americans playing games, you know what I'm saying? We getting armed up. Christians wising up, getting armed. Mace, different stuff. Yeah, I'm moving forward. I'm getting that. Definitely. I'm definitely getting that. Because that's what you take on you when, you know what I'm saying, when you don't want to be too strapped, because, the devil might try to take advantage of it and try to have the police search you or the ICE search you or something like that. But you got that mace on you, man, where you can at least ward somebody off. If somebody confront you, somebody talking slick, you spray it in their face and you skeet off. You run off. I guarantee you they are not going to run. Even the craziest people is not going to run after you after being sprayed in the face with mace. They not going or pepper spray. Nah. The craziest person ain't going to do that. Because they really ain't going to know what it is. They might think it's acid. They might think you sprayed. These days, people doing acid, spraying acid in people's face. So think about it. The average person, they feel something burn their face like that. They don't really know if that's acid. These days in 2026, most people might not even think, oh, that's pepper spray. They don't know what it is, and they think about their skin. That's gonna be burning them. And you in the streets too. Think about it. They gonna think, oh, that might be acid. They ain't gonna think you professional enough to have pepper spray or mace. They gonna think, oh, that might have been acid. That might burn my face. They done burned my face. They gonna be more occupied with that. I promise you. They gonna be way more occupied with what done happened to them. You spray that in somebody's face, you hit them just real good. You gotta know what you're doing. You gotta wield it around, which means you gotta, in your house, you gotta take time to think how quick you gonna do it and use that mace, and how quick. Take some time every once in a while and train, practice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How you gonna spray somebody in the face? You get enough of that in them, 3 seconds, you're out of there, buddy. You run across the street. You run across the street. They can't see in traffic and run across the street in traffic. First thing you do is run directly across the street, not down the street, across the street. Because with their face messed up, they might get hit by a car trying to run after you. That's the first thing I'm going to do, cross the street and then run down the street. I ain't going to run directly down the street. You got to have a plan, buddy. You got to know what you're going to do as soon as you do, before it happens. When you like that, man, listen, they can't tell you, man. You done ran circles around them, no pun intended. They don't even know what you're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what happened. When you already sharp, man. If I'm gonna do something in the bodega to somebody, I'm gonna run across the street as soon as I come out. I ain't gonna run down the street. He can run right after me. I'm gonna cross the street and run down the street. You ain't gonna be able to catch me. And then it ain't gonna look like I'm affiliated with nothing that happened over there. They see me running, but I'm on the other side of the street. They ain't gonna. If I'm running directly down the street, they gonna look up the street and see people out there talking and everything. They gonna think you running from them people. Think about it. And they look at you right in your face and everything. You gotta be that sharp. Yeah. I hate somebody with that pepper spray in the bodega, because it could happen in New York like that. And guess what? I'm gonna run right across the street, buddy. I'm gonna run across the street. If you try to run after me and you can barely see, you might get hit by a car, buddy. By a truck, anything. Because anger can kind of blind you, you know. You lose your sense of awareness with some people. Run across the street trying to run after me, get hit by a truck. Boom. Well, that's the end. You know, it's all about war, bro. You know, we got the spirit of David on us. We got the heart of Jesus. But we got the mind of David. That's how I'm gonna put it. David was a warrior. You know what I'm saying? It's no secret. He fought wars in the Bible. Let's stop being cartoons. Let's stop being wet behind the ears. Like a little girl, like a little 13-year-old girl. Grow up. David was a grown man in war. Okay? So we got the heart of Jesus, but in the mind of David. We got the mind of Christ too. You know, I'm not, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep the heart of Jesus, having love for each other. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to strategize like David did in war. You know what I'm saying? See, Jesus didn't fight physical wars on earth. Okay? He's fighting wars now for us here. I believe that. Physically on earth, he did not fight campaigns of war. David did on earth fight campaigns of war. So you see why I would mention Jesus and David. You get it, don't you? David had strategies of war, and Jesus didn't use those strategies of war on earth. I believe he used strategies in heaven to fight for us and to fight on earth for us. Right? But on earth, David has strategies of war. So you have the mind of David. You got the heart of Jesus, the Messiah, our master. And he has no problem with you having the mind of David. You see what I'm saying? Come on now. You read the Bible, you take it from all the people. Think about it. You take it from David, you take it from all the disciples. That's what you're supposed to be doing. And with David, we taking the strategies of war. That's what we're doing. You feel me? We're taking that mindset that we're going to strategize in war and we're going to win our wars as spiritual warriors like David. Because David was winning wars, real wars, and he had to fight his family. Back to fighting his family. He had to fight his family and everything. You know what I'm saying? He had to fight his own son, Absalom. His own son was against him, having sex with his concubines and everything. His own son was having sex with his women and everything, man. You know, his son was doing all kind of stuff. It was real. Back to, like I said, you know, when you're chosen, you're anointed, your family is going to be in a position of betraying you, man. They're going to be in that position. David went through the same thing. But David went through it for different reasons, you know. He killed somebody. He killed a man for his woman. And so the sword didn't depart. The prophet Nathan told him that the sword ain't going to depart from your house because you killed a man for Bathsheba. That's what happened. So he had to go to war with his own son. You know what I'm saying? That's real. That's real life. That's what I'm talking about. And it was a real war. A real war. A real physical war, man. And see, when evil came back into the world, hardcore like it has, we're back in those times of going to war with other human beings. That's how you need to hear it. We're back in those times. Come to terms with it. Stop tripping. That's what it is, man. We back in the times of going to war with human beings like in the Bible. The evil done kicked up in the world for whatever reason. These crazy people, these clowns and all of that. In the middle of all that protein shake right there, with that blend, the protein shake, we're back where, you know, human beings, we fighting them. We fighting human beings again like we used to in the Bible. That's what it is. Like David going against had to fight his own son. All of that kind of stuff. We going through these real wars, man. These real physical wars. That's the level that the evil has escalated on. You get it? Okay, the evil turned up so much that we gotta fight real wars against human beings again because they using their free will to do evil. It's nothing we can do about that but fight back. That's all we can do. We can't sit up and wish it wasn't happening, and you know, and that's why, you know, I'm a realist. I'm thinking about reality, man. You know, we can't sit up and the best spiritual soldiers is gonna be spiritual and a realist. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have a balance. That's the worst kind. That's the most dangerous kind of spiritual warriors. I got a balance between being a realist and being a spiritual person. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I water down any of my spirituality, but I also consider elements of reality, like people using their free will to do evil. Okay. So then, what we gonna do in that case? What we gonna do in that case? A realist gonna say, you know, we got to go to war with these people. It's not about praying about, you know, they're consistently against us. That, you know, we beyond prayer at this point. You know, we know that. We all know that. And some Christians are religious, man, and they gonna influence all the people. So it takes the prophet to move people in the proper direction, man. Because the religious people gonna tell you, they're going to give you a couple scriptures and tell you to pray for these people and all of that, man. Nah, man, it ain't no time of that. It's not no time for that. It's no time for praying for these people no more. That time is up. They thought they out here trying to show out for these light-skinned girls. You know what I'm saying? We not praying for these people. They trying to show out for these light-skinned girls. That's what they doing. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't sitting back waiting on them to change and all, and making it all about them changing and all. Nah. We going to war. That's what we doing. That's what God's true people is doing, and that's what we doing. We going to war, and ain't nobody gonna stop us. Okay, we ain't crazy. We ain't losing our mind. We love our Christian brothers and sisters. They on our side. We ain't gonna turn on them. We gonna stick together with them. And you know, and we're going to war with these people that think it's a war. It's a game. You know what I'm saying? They think it's a game. They're gonna see that it's not. That's it. That's a realist. That's just being real. We're not psycho. We're not sick like they are. So when they throw stuff at our minds, we don't care nothing about it. You know, that's you thinking you on my level and you ain't. You can't see me. That's impossible. That's impossible. You can't see me, buddy. I done been around hardcore killers. You heard my stories. I done been through hardcore stuff where I almost lost my life. You can't see me, buddy. And that's facts. Okay? That's facts. That's facts. You lying, you dreaming if you think you can see me, buddy. You dreaming. I'm coast to coast with my respect. My respect goes coast to coast. California all the way over here to New York, buddy. You dreaming if you think you can see me, buddy. Okay? We going to war, and that's all there is to it. And I'm tell you somebody, I'm tell you like somebody that's influenced by California. See, that's why they look at people, they flag people that go from coast to coast because we get both mentalities. They can't enslave me to the East Coast or to the West Coast. See, when you nationwide, you got that blend, you get free. When you go through the whole country, you get free. Because you get all the mentalities. They can't box you into a zone and groom you to a certain slavery. So when you go coast to coast, they flag you. Of course they gonna flag you. Because you're free. They can't box you into a certain East Coast mentality or a Southern mentality or a New York mentality. You're free from all of these games, you know, that these different societies offer from the West Coast to the East Coast. You seen it all, you know it all, that too. That's why you get flagged, you know what I'm saying? So that comes with the territory. If you're a nationwide person like me, and you literally have lived in the West Coast and the East Coast and down south, they gonna flag you, bruh. They gonna flag you because you free. You know what I'm saying? You ain't scared of these police if you lived coast to coast. When you seen, you know, people ain't scared of no police in California. You know, they not. In fact, I think the police is probably more likely scared of the community more than the community is scared of them. You know, when I was in California, I you know, people ain't scared of no police. No, it's a whole different ball game over there. No, they ain't scared of no police, and they put pressure on them food stamps, and they get $200 cash right out the ATM. They don't get no 180 like we get that 188. They get the whole 2 Benjis. They get them whole 2 Benjamins out the ATM. That's with the surcharge already considered and everything. You getting $200 out the ATM, buddy. Without the surcharge. You getting the whole 200. And that was over 10 years ago, before New York even really started giving more money. You know, LA, Los Angeles put pressure on them people. That's what they do. They put pressure. I know that's what happened. The community put pressure on the government that they need money. They can't just have no food stamps. They got 200. They get $200. They get $200. I already had it. I had food stamps in Los Angeles. That's how you know it ain't a game. I done had food stamps in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, not just San Francisco. I done had LA food stamps. When you get the vouchers to go to the motels, the Weingart and all of that. I done had the Weingart vouchers. I know all about that. Getting the Weingart vouchers and everything. But they take away from your cash when you do that. You know what I'm saying? If you get the voucher for the motel, they got the system over there got the motel you can go to where the streets go to, so it's a big party and all of that. And but you can wash your clothes. You know, they got a little room, little TV room and all of that. You might have your own little room in some cases, and you can stay in the part. There's a program in there in the Weingart if it's still there, but sometimes I went ahead and did that. You know what I'm saying? Got that motel room. You know what I'm saying, at the Weingart. So I know all about that in LA. You know, if people don't even know what I'm talking about, they ain't live there. But LA know what I'm talking about. You know, so it's just understanding, man. It's no more games. Whoever thought it was a game, listen, I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for you because you shouldn't be playing with people that you don't know. That's how I see it. I see it just like that. That you know better, and it doesn't. It's not street wisdom. Even for the best of us, cannot go out here playing with people we don't know. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't come out here playing with people in these neighborhoods, and I don't know who this person is, and then I come out here and I'm slipping. You feel me? I'm slipping. You know what I mean? Because I bullied somebody, or you know what I mean? You can't come out here like that. That's how we know they internet people, they cartoon people. You can't come out here bullying people and everything, and don't think nothing gonna happen to you. People think that a person like me, a head honcho, I'm a head honcho, right? So people will think that, I might be a bit of a bully. I'm not. I don't like bullies. I never did. I don't like their personalities. I don't like bullies. I think they have many insecurities and hang-ups, and that's why they like that. That's what it is. It ain't that they really tough or anything. They got all kind of insecurities and things like that. And all kind of stuff going on with them to make them like that. So I never liked bullies in my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I never liked bullies in my whole life, man, and I still don't to this day. I don't like anybody that exhibited any kind of behavior of a bully. But I'm a stand-up man, and because I'm a stand-up man, you might misinterpret that for me probably being a bully out here to somebody that's smaller than me, or because that's usually the case with a bully, and because they don't try nobody on their same level, you know what I'm saying? It's always got to be something that's lacking for them to try somebody, you know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna try nobody on their level. And that's what you know about bullies. They ain't gonna try nobody on their same exact level, or better, so that's why I don't respect them. That's another reason. You know what I'm saying? I fight my greatest enemies. I fight whoever want it. I give it to whoever want it. That's how I am. You know what I'm saying? So, like I've said before many times, I lived in Harlem. I lived in East New York, New Lots Avenue. You know what I'm saying? I've lived in Knickerbocker. I lived in that neighborhood in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So, I lived in Bed-Stuy. I know Atlantic Avenue, down the street from the Barclays Center. I was at the Armory. You know what I'm saying? So I stayed, people in Brooklyn know what that is. I stayed in the Armory. You know what I'm saying? Fulton Street. I used to walk up and down Fulton Street and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Now people will keep tabs and be watching and making it these clowns all around. But I already enjoyed living over there in Bed-Stuy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know what Bed-Stuy was until I lived in New York long enough. I didn't even know what it was. That's the first neighborhood I lived in. That's why I'm tough as they come. I lived in Bed-Stuy as soon as I got in New York. They said the shelter sent me straight there, and I know why, because they knew that was gonna make me tough. They put me in the toughest situation to make me tough, and it worked, because when I lived over there in that neighborhood, I just got used to Brooklyn. I just got used to Bed-Stuy, how people move over there. So that's why I trip off people that's like, even over here, you can fool an out-of-towner and think this is a hard part of Brooklyn, and it's not to me. It's not hard at all. You know what I'm saying? I lived in Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, East New York, over there too. So, man, that's just for New York, just so you don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? I lived in Harlem too. That's just so you don't get it twisted, bro. You know what I'm saying? That and just add to me being around all the people from Bed-Stuy and all of that as a community. Add that part too. Add that part. put reality in scope. You know, I lived up there with all the people that's in Bed-Stuy, and ain't nobody feel any type of way about me strange or anything like that. That's why I know I'm dealing with white folks and clowns. If they black, they Bill Cosby kids. That's why I call them Bill Cosby kids. You're a Bill Cosby kid, buddy. You know what I'm saying? I don't relate to people like you. You're a little strange little black guy that, you know, you don't have the mentality that we have, you know, that most of us as Africans have. You know, you're a little strange little African guy. You know what I'm saying? And that would be okay if you would stay in your lane, if you stay out of my way. You know, like I said, if you play with me, you know, and you don't know me, I don't feel sorry for you, because your parents, if you was retarded, your parents should have kept you out the streets. They should have kept you out the streets. And then if you wasn't retarded, then I'm pretty sure you know not to talk to strangers. And if you don't talk to strangers, then why would you mess with strangers? That's my philosophy. If you're taught as a child not to talk to strangers, then common sense tell you you don't mess with strangers either. And that's the part you keep alive as you get older. You don't mess with strangers. I do my homework on my enemies. My real homework. Like, you supposed to know I lived in LA. You supposed to know that. Before you think you can see me, before you think you can play with me, buddy. Oh, that's important information. Oh, he lived in Los Angeles. That's important information. That's not something that, I'm like a white boy, I'm going to just let that go. That don't mean nothing to me. What you mean it don't mean nothing to you? For a black man, that's, oh, you should have told me he lived in L.A. Because I know what type of person I'm dealing with. That's why. You didn't know what type of person you're dealing with. I done lived in Los Angeles and everything, bro. I ain't playing no games with nobody. And when I was over there, I was inquiring about the gun plug. Just in case you think I went over there some other type of way. I went over there asking about the gun, get ready to buy me a gun and everything in LA, in Los Angeles. It's one thing to say you're going to buy a gun down south or in the East Coast. It's another thing for you to be inquiring about a gun plug over in Los Angeles. Like you supposed to. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's jealousy a lot of times, man, because when I tell these stories, people get jealous because they ain't living in LA. You know, they ain't living on the West Coast. You ain't got that hard to do that and get respect and love and all. You ain't gonna go over there and get LA and get love and everything and get respect and everything like that, man. You know, you ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? You gonna sit back and hear my stories, and you know, you still trying to size me up, trying to find weakness and everything, because you a player hater, and that's what it really is. You know what I'm saying? You know, a player hater is a defect, a mental defect. You know, you looking for flaws. You looking for, you know, you looking to try to, for some kind of contradiction in a person. That's a player hater too. You know, it's not normal for a person to just look at a person and try to and listen to him and trying to find flaws. That's not a normal person. That's a player hater. That's what it is. You a player hater. And that's a term that should have been brought back long time ago. A player hater. That's what you are. You're player haters. It ain't coming for me. It ain't competition. No, you a hater. You a player hater. That's what you are. And I'm not the one to play with, player hater. That's what you tell people. I'm not the one to play with, player hater. Okay? I've been all around this country, and if you want war, buddy, I will give it to you. That's facts. See, I stand alone. I know nobody in this building ain't lived in LA and in the West Coast and the East Coast like I have. You know, ain't nobody, everywhere I go, I'm the only one like me. Ain't nobody, you know, they tell you all this other stuff. They ain't lived through the West Coast and the East Coast and the South and all of that. They ain't done it. So then I don't see you as my equal. You're not my equal. You're not my equal, so I don't even pay you no attention. You know what I'm saying? I don't, because you got to go and do all the stuff I did to be my equal. To be me, I don't care what you do with psychological stuff and all that foolishness. To be me, you got to go all to California. You got to come back in one piece. You got to go through all of this stuff. You got to go through almost dying and almost losing your life You know, you can't just wake up one day and use psychological games and you think you're on my level. You know what I'm saying? You can't read minds and sit up as a funky psychic or a funky witchcraft person and think you can see me, man. You tripping. You tripping, bro. You can't see me, buddy. That's all I'm saying. This is 100 over here. This is 100. Yeah. Because half of these New York people scared to go to LA anyway. You scared. So then imagine me bowing down to you on your grounds, but then the truth is, I done something you scared to do. That's the little secret that I got with half of these New Yorkers. You scared to go to Los Angeles and live there on the street level. That's our little secret between me and you. I got something that you scared to do. I done something you scared to do. And that's what I'm saying. You feel me? So imagine me seeing them as my equals just because of the strength of off this, because this New York or Brooklyn. But I know even here in Brooklyn, some of y'all scared to go to LA. You know what I'm saying? So see, that's what I'm saying. See, that's the wins that you get, especially in the black community, when you go coast to coast. You know what I'm saying? I done stuff I know you ain't gonna do. You scared to do it. Your mama scared to do it. You scared to do it. You ain't gonna do it. She ain't gonna do it. They ain't going to LA. You ain't going to LA. Y'all sit up and smoke weed. You smoke weed with your mama and drink with your mama, but y'all ain't gonna go to LA. I mean, so you know what I'm saying. So you know, I don't see you. You don't see me. I don't see you, and you don't see me. You get it? Yeah, you don't see me, buddy. You gotta go do what I do. That's the champions. That's the bosses. That's the big dogs. The big dogs. You can't fight and beat me and destroy me by a fight. You got to go do what I've done. That's the only way you can beat me, buddy. You can't beat me with a fight. That's a child. That's teenagers. A big dog, we want to see you produce the same numbers that I produce. We want to see you go where I went. See, a lame, you know, that ain't done nothing, they going to fight and try to fight to win wars. You can't fight to win wars with a big dog, because everybody that knew that person is still going to say you wasn't greater than that person. Even though you killed the person, you wasn't greater than them because this person went to LA, went everywhere. Y'all lame niggas didn't go nowhere. Y'all didn't do nothing. This person went to LA, California, everything. You never did. You never did. So you can't beat a boss with a fight or killing a person. You can't. That's what makes me immortal. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't beat. You can't. My legend is solid. It's solid, bro. You can't beat me unless you do this. If you don't do this, you can't see me. That's probably, you can't beat me in one place, in one site. Why don't you tell these lames you can't do it? You can't beat me in one place. You can't beat me here. Are you kidding me? Now you see what a real boss is. You can't. That's why I laugh at you. You can't beat me here. You got to go to LA. You got to go all them places to beat somebody like me, buddy. That's them amateurs out there, them lames, them beginners. You can't beat no big dog. Think about it. Ain't no big dog in the world gonna say, well, you just beat me. If you beat me in a fight or some little stuff at one place in one location, you gonna say, nah, you gotta go here and do this, you gotta do that. You gonna give them a list of the stuff you gotta do to beat my name, to be who my fame, and to be who I am. You gotta do all this stuff. You gotta do stuff to beat me, buddy. Now a bum out here, you know, they gonna fight back and forth and all that kind of stuff. To beat a boss, you gotta beat my numbers, man. We not satisfied with shooting and killing and all of that and fighting. No, the real chess moves is you gotta beat what I've done, and you're not gonna do it. Not you as an individual. So you don't matter as an individual. Make sense? Because you ain't going to go nowhere where I went and do what I've done. Now imagine me comparing myself to you or you comparing yourself to me. That's what I'm saying. And that's how I set the record straight every single time. Until you do what I've done, we ain't trying to hear it, bro. That's simple as that. So like I said, man, this spiritual war is real. You feel me? And we getting it in. You know what I'm saying? We getting this in. We getting this war in. If I use the word nigga, you know it's not in the racial slur. You know it's not in carnality. It's a word. It's so mixed up these days. It's a word that's used in so many different contexts, as you know. If you ain't been under a rock, you know that. So you know, but I don't make a habit of using that word anymore in my vocabulary too much. But you know the context that it's in. You feel me? So you know we ain't gonna let lame boys, you know what I'm saying, these lames out here try to hold us to perfection and everything like that, and you know, and all this foolishness. You know, they not refereeing nothing because they another one that ain't done nothing that I've done. You know, they ain't been coast to coast. They flying around here astral projecting with witchcraft, and you a lame, bro. You absolutely are a lame to me. I'll tell your mother that you're a lame. Okay? She should have raised you better. You're a lame. I'm serious. I got hard to go to LA. I make it look easy. A white boy gonna tell you I was a drifter. But I'm black, so guess where I'm gonna lead to? Not the white boy neighborhoods in LA. I'm going down to the hood. I'm going to the streets. You see, a white boy's interpretation is what got you in this situation of who I am. You let that white man tell you who I was. You let these corny Bill Cosby kids, these Freemasons, they Bill Cosby kids. Freemasons, most of them are Bill Cosby kids. They ain't from the hood. No, they Bill Cosby kids. They act like the Huxtables and stuff. Like, they don't act like normal black people. They weird. You ever notice all the Freemasons are kind of weird? They don't act like regular black people. I show signs of being a regular black person, don't I? Even as being a prophet. Now, go look at a Freemason. They don't show no sign. They weird, bruh. That's all I'm saying. That's a signature sign I notice in all of them. Okay? Like I said, the Americans help these Freemasons. You can't get out of this. You help them. You help these people, and that's how the streets is looking at it. That's how everybody looking at it. And some people done came to terms with it. You know what I'm saying? You know, you help these people. You was wrong. You know, and that's that. That's that, bro. You took the money from these people. You took money from them, and that's what you did. Okay, so you know how it is. You reap what you sow, buddy. You know what I'm saying? You came out here and played with us in the field, and you got what you deserve. And it's not, and you're not getting out of it for free. You're not getting out of it for nothing. And then you know, remind you, I'm coast to coast, so my mentality is not just East Coast. I've been influenced by everybody I ever met in my life. I've been influenced by my environments. I've been influenced by energy. If you go to the West Coast, you ain't gonna be around no energy. I knew I was influenced by the West Coast the next time I got in an argument. Next time I got in an argument when I left the West Coast, my turn up was way more official. Cause you get used to seeing people in LA know what I'm talking about. Spazzing. If you lived in LA and then you left LA and you wasn't from there, when you left, the next time you argued with somebody, your turn up was 100, wasn't it? That's how you know somebody done been to LA, man. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I keep things in proper perspective. I keep things righteous. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I just don't agree with nobody playing with somebody they didn't know, bro. It just goes against logic, human logic. Even if you a sucker, your mama gonna tell you not to talk to strangers. You know, even as a sucker. You know, it's just no excuse. That's why it's no mercy. You know, no, it ain't no mercy. If you say we didn't know, you don't supposed to know, sucker. You don't supposed to know who I am without knowing me personally. You don't supposed to know me. Okay, that's what you don't understand. You was never supposed to know me. That's what's wrong with you. You're stuck on retarded. like you know me or you were supposed to. Well, how? I don't know you. That's what I'm saying, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I don't sympathize with you at all. I don't. You shouldn't have. You play with somebody you don't know. Hey, that's life, buddy. And that's how they'll put you in the dirt based on that. In the streets and everybody. Ain't nobody gonna sympathize with that. No, ain't nobody sympathizing. Well, they shouldn't have played with him. That's how the streets gonna look at it. That's how the streets gonna look at it. They shouldn't have played with him. Ain't nobody gonna sympathize with you. You going through the motions and ain't nobody giving compassion. You going through emotions and ain't nobody giving no compassion. You know what I'm saying? You could talk all the stories you want, but I'm 100 right here. And that's the bottom line. I got a track record that beats everything. See, I did what most people can't do. I resurrected past everything that you said. My sexuality, I resurrected past that. That what proves I'm real. Well, all I've done, I've resurrected past all of it. Right or wrong? Okay, so you a sucker that didn't see a black man resurrect past all these things. Past sexuality and different things in sexuality. I resurrected past all of that, which proves real can go through anything. See it differently now, don't you? Because I'm real and I'm gonna articulate it as a real one. I'm gonna give you insight on things that you might have not thought about. And that's from real to real, from real person to another real person. I'm going to still give you stuff that you might have not thought about. Like, oh, this dude resurrected. That shows us real can go through switchings of sexualities and all of that. And it still come out. That's what's real. Oh, that's the true test. Well, if you can go through all of that sexually and come out, you're real. You went through all of that and came out. And you still the same dude. Because you're real. That's why. That's real, bro. That's the true test. Real has to go through the fire. You know what I'm saying? You come out as pure gold. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, man, that's why some people, lames can't be in these conversations. They lame gonna try to hold you to something. I'm real. You can't hold me to nothing. Sucker. You can't hold me to nothing. Because listen, I get better every single year. Now imagine you trying to hold me to some corny place and time that you got in your head from whenever. You know what I'm saying? I get stronger every single year. I get stronger every year. Okay? You're a goofy, you're a cornball. You came out here, listen to these people, you played yourself. That's what the New Yorkers would tell you. You played yourself. You come out here playing around people you ain't know you played yourself, and nobody don't feel sorry for no Freemasons. I don't feel a bit sorry for you. And anybody that does, I don't see how. They came out here playing. How you gonna come out here and play with somebody and then expect somebody to feel sorry for you? Clown, because you a clown. You know what time it is. And God can't, and nobody ain't gonna stop the Lord. Ain't nobody gonna stop God. He will not be stopped. You came out here and played in the field, and you think it's a game. You thought you was a savage, and you started playing with real ones, and you thought I wasn't. That's what happened. That's what happened, buddy. It happens all the time in the black neighborhoods. You wind up trying somebody that's 100, and you learn the hard way. You learn the hard way, buddy. How you think people get popped out here? Get bucked down? How you think it happens? They play with people that they thought was lame or whatever, and they tried the wrong person, and they found out they was 100. That's what happened. You found out the dudes you played with was 100. That's what you think. How you think these black people keep dying out here? How you think they keep? Because they keep trying the wrong people. That's why. You try the wrong people, you're gonna die out here, bro. And so Freemasons are no exception to these rules. You play the role with the wrong people, thinking you bad. Whatever you think with that witchcraft, you still playing with the wrong person. So you're gonna still find people on levels that can touch that too. Now that's me. I'm a prophet. I can listen, man. I don't care nothing about that little stuff you're doing. Listen. I have damaged your whole community, and everybody and their mama know that. You playing yourself being here tonight. Ain't nobody but you listen. You listen. What you mean by being here tonight? That don't mean nothing to us. You a lame. You a sucker. That's how we see it. Okay. So they use the Freemasons use these Americans against God's people, and they thought nothing was gonna happen. They thought they could take the liability themselves back to themselves. They thought they could get the Americans out of it and then just try to knock us off on their own after they used the Americans. Ain't no compassion. It's no compassion. You shouldn't have played with us. How hard is that to understand? You ain't had no charges on me. You ain't seen me out here doing nothing to nobody. So that's why nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? It'd be one thing if I was like all around the community doing stuff already, but the fact that I'm just a normal everyday person that minded his business is unforgivable, man. It's nobody forgives it, man. That's what it is. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what you talk about. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get into my message. Okay, so this is the message. It's us against the Americans, right? The spiritual war has escalated. Understand that escalation is possible in spiritual war or in any type of war. Spiritual war or any type of war, escalation is possible. So you can't just think, okay, this war is the same, everything's cool, woo, 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 right? It can escalate and get worse. And that's what's happening right now. It's besides this spiritual war that's been going on, right? Besides this spiritual war that's been going on, we know it's been going on. The gang stalk and all that. It has escalated. You understand, right? So now we're in the point of escalation. That's where we at. Okay? They think they something they not. I'm not. We're not afraid of witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? Are you afraid of witchcraft? Or witchcraft people? I'm not afraid of killers. So why would I be afraid of them? That's what. You see what I'm saying? It's like retarded, bro. Like the spiritual war has escalated. Understand that escalation is possible in spiritual war or in any type of war. Escalation has happened. It's escalated. This is all escalated. That's why all of this is escalating. Escalating is when it all speeds up and it goes up to 100. It's done escalated. You know what I'm saying? It's already escalated already. In America, the war escalated because the American citizens took money and goods to gang stalk Christians and other good-natured people. They took goods and everything. The truth is the hood took goods and everything. Black people took money, cash app hits, all of that to gang stalk me and you. They didn't just stand out. Think about it. Why would they be so motivated to be out there? Ain't no black people gonna be out there without money. That's why they was out there like that. They got money to do this. They got money to gang stalk you. They ain't just standing out there for no group of people. This is black people. Mind you, they used everyday Americans. That's what you're not putting in the gang stalking equation. They used everyday Americans, not just the Freemasons. That's what they hide from you. That's what might break your heart, but it's true. They use black Americans against you. They use Americans against you. They took money to do it to you and me. They took money. They got money. They chilled. They got cigarettes and weed, and that's what they was doing. Alcohol and stuff. off of your back, off of your back, because of you. They use you like a cash cow and got money off of your back. And you ain't gonna hold the American community liable. And these people was out here gang stalking you for money. They was. I'm telling you, they was. Somebody told me. I got intelligence in Jamaica, Queens, where they told me they was passing out gift cards to gang stalk people. They was passing out gift cards. So am I wrong? I'm right. Which was Target over there by Jamaica. The Target. They was giving out Target gift cards to gang stalk me and you. They was giving these people gift cards to gang stalk, bro. So wake up, man. They've been passing out money like it's a carnival. They had this whole game going on around us, handing out money and everything. And so it's no mercy. It's no mercy on when they participated. When the Americans, this is the Americans. We've been talking about the flying monkeys, the monitoring spirits, the gang stalkers, the Freemasons. I'm talking about the Americans. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's what the only thing people missing online is talking about these Americans and what they've done. They joined these people and took their money. Even though they didn't join them, they still worked for them because they took money, gift cards, cash app hits, sex even. Women having sex with these people. All kind of stuff, man. Okay? As a result, the war has officially escalated to the point that it is not about secret societies. That was more back in 2017 and 2019. That's when it was more about the secret societies, back in 2017, 2019, before COVID. Now, it's about all of America, man. It has escalated to, it has officially escalated to the point where the liability is the whole American community. They've been passing out money the whole time. That's why. We're not ignorant of that, right? So let's understand it, because if you just talk about gang stalkers, you're ignorant of the whole part that the Americans were giving. The gang stalkers gave Americans money to gang stalk you. Gift cards. This is the real Pacific information. The past 7 years, Christians are in a spiritual war with the entire American community. For the past 7 years, we've been in war with the entire American community. Since 2019. The secret societies see what they have caused, and they have tried to take the liability back to their own community and no longer involve the Americans. It's too late. The Americans as an entire community fought against me, and so now they are pulled into a spiritual war with Christians. The secret societies did not work alone. They used Americans. All the people out there was not secret societies. Americans helped to fight Christians, and Christians are not expressing this truth. This is the truth. They helped. They fought you, and they fought me too. It has become an American effort. Americans need not exclude themselves from the secret societies, because they help them so much that the entire country must be defeated for secretly fighting Christians. The only part that YouTubers are leaving out is the American helped the gang stalkers. The Americans helped them. It may hurt many people to spiritually fight against the entire American community, but you have to understand the full capacity of the war. The Americans helped to fight you and me. That's the reality. Whether you accept it or not, God has decided, because of a huge population of Americans that secretly helped to fight Christians, to shut down the systems of America on all these Americans. God is holding all of the Americans responsible. The number of Americans that fought against Christians is so significant as a number of people that the systems will be shut down on the American people. All that had to happen for the entire American community to be shut down was for a significant number of people to fight against Christians. No Christians on earth can stop this. No witchcraft can stop this. God has decided this on his own. Amen.